Jojo sir?
Please begin. Thank you.
Yes, Shafi.
Yes, ma'am. Research is to see what everybody else has seen and to think what nobody else has thought. Good evening, on and all. A warm welcome to our 88th session of Insight Indepth Talk Series, hosted by the research wing of Martheophilus Training College. I am Dr. Shafi Thompson, research scholar, Martheophilus Training College. Thank you, everyone, for being a part of the wonderful informative session. A day without prayer is a day without blessing, and life without prayer is a life without power. So let's begin our session with the blessings of Almighty. I invite Ms. Deepa for playing the prayer song. Thank you, Deepa. Now I invite Ms. Sindhu S for the welcome address. Before starting our session, a humble request to all the participants, please unmute your audio unless you are asked to mute yourself. Individual queries can be texted in chat box. Towards the end of the session, there will be a deliberation time, so you can ask your queries and can be clarified them. This session is being recorded and uploaded in the official YouTube of Martheophilus Training College, and the link should be shared through the Insight In-Depth related WhatsApp groups. Feedback form should be provided at the end of the session through the chat box. Please fill it and revert to us. Now it's over to Ms. Sindhu for the welcome address.
Thank you, Dr. Shafi. Am I audible?
Yes.
Thank
Audible.
you. My duty is to welcome each and every one of you to yet another session of Insight in Depth. First of all, let me welcome Dr. Juju John, sir, Principal in Charge, Martheophilus Training College, to our program. We welcome you, sir. Next, I would like to welcome the distinguished guest of the day, the dynamic, vibrant, young research guide and mentor, Dr.Divya Senan, to our midst. We welcome you, ma'am. Next, I welcome Dr. Maya S., our research coordinator, the guiding light of the research wing of MTTC. We welcome you, ma'am. We welcome all the research guides, mentors, teachers, research scholars, and students who have joined us today for this program. Thank you.
Thank you, Sindhu. So now I invite our backbone, our inspiration, our magic motivator, Dr. Jojo John, Principal in Charge of Martheophilus Training College, Nalanchara, for introductory address.
Thank you very much, Shafi sir, for that piece of welcome. I would like to take only 90 seconds because we should not waste our time today. Divya Senan ma'am, warm welcome to you on behalf of the management, all the staff members, and all of us. We are honored by your presence here, ma'am. We are looking forward to hearing from you. Thank you very much for your continuous patronage and collaboration with Martheophilus Training College. Now, I would like to thank Dr. Bindu ma'am for having led the research wing in the Esther years in an outstanding fashion, organized brilliant programs, and organized the program of Dr. Shendil Nathan sir, many programs organized by research wing under the powerful leadership of Professor Dr. Bindu ma'am. Bindu ma'am, we all of us owe you our gratitude and prayers. Thank you very much, ma'am. Now the baton has been handed over to yet another brilliant teacher educator, a real gem of a person, Professor Dr. Maya. And this happens to be the first program, Insight in the program, organized by Professor Dr. Maya, and she has identified an exceptional resource person also. My teacher, thank you very much, and very we would like to wish you good luck, my teacher. Now, dear friends and all participants, it would be a great honor if you share the poster and the link with your students, colleagues, and everyone, because let them also learn the ethical aspects of doing research. All of you have been extending continuous support and patronage to Mark Evler's Training College and to this program. And all of us, all the family members of Mark Evler's Training College, are really indebted to you all for your patronage. Keep connected with Martha's Training College. We have the many hours to go for. Goods are lovely, dark and deep, but we do not have time to sleep. We have to travel a lot together in fraternity, in love and care. Good luck, everyone. I would like to congratulate all the research scholars who are organizing this program in an exceptional fashion. Really proud of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Joji sir. So may I invite Miss Tara to introduce our today's guest of honor. Today's session is handled by an eminent resource person, Dr. Divya C. Senan, Assistant Professor, Department of Education, University of Kerala. She is handling about the topic research and publication ethics. So it's time for Tara to introduce our guest.
Thank you, Shafi sir. Am I audible?
Yes, audible.
Good evening, one and all. Let me share my screen for the PPT. Is my screen visible, Shafi sir?
Yes, it's visible.
Thank you. Good evening, one and all. Our resource person, Dr. Divya C. Senan, ma'am, Assistant Professor,
Tara,
Department.
excuse me, Tara. Can you
Yes,
share the slides? Can you share the slides?
isn't that sharing?
No. We can see the slides.
Okay, Sapna, can you share the video for me, the PPT for me?
Yes. Now it's okay.
Thank you, Sapna. Our today's resource person, Dr. Divya Senan, Assistant Professor, Department of Education. Ma'am has an academics of, next slide, Sapna. Sapna, next slide. Ma'am has an academics of a PhD in education from University of Kerala, a postdoctoral training in the field of energy and environmental education from University of Alabama. Ma'am has a postdoctoral training in educational policy and planning from National Space Science Technology Center, USA. And ma'am is currently focused on the development of curricular resources for energy education at different educational levels. Ma'am's awards and achievements include recipient of Best Teacher Educator National Award by the National Council for Teacher Education, Chanakya Award 2021 for the Best Teacher Educator at national level by Indian Institute of Teacher Education, Gandhinagar. Ma'am is a recipient of a prestigious Fulbright Nehru Postdoctoral Fellowship and UGC Raman Postdoctoral Fellowship for Indian scholars in USA. Ma'am has conducted and organized seminars and celebrated chairs of resource person in many published books and journals at both national and international levels. Presently, Ma'am is chairing as Assistant Professor, Department of Education, University of Kerala. Welcome, Ma'am. Hearty welcome, Ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you, Tara. So, we are highly privileged and fortunate to have this eminent personality as our resource person with great pressure. Invite Dr. Divya Senan, ma'am, for enlightening our knowledge. Ma'am, now the platform is yours. Welcome, ma'am.
Thank you, Shafi. Thank you so much. So, a very good afternoon to one and all. So, actually, we had a very good start with Joju sir's motivational video, and also a very good start with the introductory address by Dr. Shafi Thompson. So, first of all, I think I need to extend my sincere gratitude to the whole MTTC fraternity for inviting me, and I am so privileged that my teacher, this is the first lecture which is organized by my teacher, and I feel thankful to her also for inviting me and for this particular event. And I think this is my second visit towards this particular, insight series. So, I am so happy and I am so proud to say that MTTC is very much keen in organizing such type of initiatives, both the academic as well as research domains. And the teamwork in MTTC that is to be that is to be said. I think that is very much to be told. That teamwork is the teamwork among the students as well as among the teaching as well as non-teaching fraternity, which is a model to all other institutions. And now we have at another next means at another wonderful principal who can lead the light more towards to the next zenith of the college. So wishing the college, the institution, the best of everything, both in the academic as well as the research activities. So now, moving to our subject regarding research and publication ethics. Actually, when I talk about research and publication ethics, I usually talk from my experience, because I think I always believe that experiences talks much more than theory and all. And so, basically, what I am talking about, these particular ethical principles are those, those experiences where I lacked the ethical principles. There were so many situations in my life where I didn't know about these ethical principles which need to be followed in research, and only through my experiences I understood that these are the things which we should have addressed well before taking the research. So when this research and publication ethics, when it was introduced as a paper for the research scholars, I was so happy about it, and I started talking about research and publication ethics. So I do have videos within KU Padashala and all. So maybe many of you have seen that video also. So many of the examples or experiences which I have talked in that will be repeated here also. Please, those who have watched those video, please do bear with me, because I believe that those experiences will create many of the students. After viewing that video, they have came to me and told me that incidents actually keep the memory of many of the ethical principles in them. They were able to understand the ethical principles by taking into account of that experiences. So here also, in this platform also, I think that I must explain, or I must memorize all those experiences. Don't think that I am trying to flatter myself when I talk something about my postdoctoral experiences and all. Those experiences, those are the experiences where I found myself doing wrong, and only then I could understand that I was not practicing the ethical principles which I was supposed to practice. So with all your permission, let me share my PPT. Is it visible?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. So, starting with research and publication ethics. So, when we talk about research and publication ethics, actually, as I told earlier, now only UGC have come up with a paper on research and publication ethics. That means it took a lot of time for the organizers or for the the UGC like organizations to bring this type of ethical papers into the curriculum of research scholars. When I was a research scholar, frankly speaking, I never knew about the various ethical principles which need to be followed while doing research, or which actually these principles are to be known well in advance. As when we talk about research and publication ethics, or when we talk about our research, we should understand that the complete structure, or the big structure of scientific research, it is actually built on three major pillars. We all know about that. And one is the academic integrity, second is the publication ethics, and third is the responsible conduct. But when we think about the particular scenario which is happening for the last 20, 25, or 30 years in India, can we say that we have academic integrity? No, I don't think we have a very. Now we do have many deterioration is happening in the field of academic integrity. We know that everybody is trying to achieve more and more by compromising the academic integrity. And when we come to the publication ethics, also you may know that lots of publication, mushrooming of publication is coming. Publication wings are coming day by day. And also, when we talk about responsible conduct, we know that lots of misconduct are happening in our research arena, which is not allowable. And many of the research scholars, or even the academicians like me, we are unaware of the various responsible conduct which we need to be followed while doing research. So what I want to tell you is that this is a paper which doesn't mean this is a paper which you have to understand to your to your consciousness, but not for something to put in your paper. So this is not for your exam, but for your lifetime research. So if you are a researcher, very good aspiring researcher, then you have to keep all the scientific, academic integrity principles, as well as the responsible conducts which you have to follow, as well as the misconducts which you need to avoid while doing research. So when you approach this paper or these ethical principles, you have to understand that this is not a thing which we learn to put it in paper. So, when we talk about Indian scenario, now coming to Indian scenario, we know that ethical principles, when we talk about in a world domain, we couldn't see that we have to compare the researches being carried out in India as well as abroad. Suppose if you take any of the Nobel Prize winners, if you can find that many of the Nobel Prize winners, they are from abroad. Yeah, basically from US or from means European continent and all. But if you see the list of researchers who were working for that particular research, which has been awarded the Nobel Prize, you could see that there will be the names of many Indians in that group. What does that mean? Many of the Indian scholars are going abroad and they are contributing to the to the research being happening in Western countries. That means that India, we have a very good brain. We have very good scholars, very highly efficient scholars. But due to many reasons, these scholars are being they are going abroad, or we are having brain drain with respect to not only because of the respect with respect to economy or economical background, but with respect to many reasons. There are many reasons why these people, IITians, they after they are completing their courses, they are being forced to go abroad because they lack the facility, or they don't have the facility to work in India and bring in great changes. So these are the reasons. So we need to understand why, what are the lacking features which is happening in India. Now, when we take about the Indian higher education scenario, even when you come, when you what do you say, when you read National Education Policy 2020, you could understand that even now in India, though we have around 75 to 80 percentage of GER with respect to school education, still we lack. We are only having 26 percentage of gross enrollment ratio with respect to higher education. So I am talking about higher education, even in the higher education colleges. So those students coming to research is very, very small in number. And we also know, yesterday also one of my professor, who was the director of Kerala Science and Technology, he was talking to me, and he was telling like many of the students now, they are not coming to research. They don't want to become scientists, because yesterday he was having a talk in a school. So there he was asking the students, how many of you want to become a scientist? And he could find that hardly two or three were raising their hands. That means many of the students were they believe that coming to scientists, they are not employable. They will not get any employment, because you could see that many of the researchers, after doing PhD and after doing postdoc, many postdoc, they are still unemployed. Why? Because of the scenario of our particular our scenario of our country only. So we have to check what are the things which we are lacking, or what is the thing. Just have a discussion about the research scenario of our country, or the higher education scenario of our country. As you all know, India is still having the British system of education. That means the affiliating system of education, which will soon change. We are around 200, and we know that even University of Kerala, around 250 colleges are being affiliated to our university. So still the affiliating system of education is happening in India. But with the implementation of NEP 2020, as you all know, we will be having a different universities. No more this type of, single colleges may not exist. Even MTTC, you know that Marvanius College is an autonomous college. So soon autonomous Marvanius College will be getting the status of a university. So that is how our complete higher education scenario is going to change. So now, when we talk about the scenario now existing, we can say that around 400,000 colleges are deal with undergraduate programs in our country, and more than 900 universities are entrusted with post-graduation and research. And when we talk about the All India Survey on Higher Education, it is quite a bit late, means earlier, 2018 data, about 1.285 million teachers to train 36.6 million students. You know something? India is the second largest country with the highest, with respect to higher education. We are the one, because India is a highly populous country. And we are saying that, now I am saying that this is the second largest country. First rank goes to China, and the city, we are the second largest country, the highest higher education, with the highest higher education. And at the same time, I am telling you that we are only enrolling around 26% of our students to higher education. The rest 74% of our students are not coming to higher education. So, and we could see that about 1.285 million teachers are training 36.6 million students. And out of that, 4.14 million students are in master's program, and 1,61,000 in doctoral programs. And around 34,400 students were awarded PhD degree every year. This is 2018 year statistics, and you could see that around 10,000 research fellowships are given every year, JRF, as different types of scholarship given to the research scholars. So it's a huge amount as far as, but still comparing to other countries, we need to say that this is a small amount, because when we take the GDP, the budget and all, we could see that US and UK, such countries, even Australia, Finland, such countries, they give the maximum budget is given for higher education and research. Whereas in India, we are not giving that much amount. Only I think 1.7 percentage is being taken for higher education, research and all. So every year 10,000 research fellowships are given. And regarding to the Scopus data, we could see that we are proud to say that we are churning out around 1,47,537 articles that is being published from India. It's a very good number. As far as when we talk about, we are only 26% of our students are being enrolled in higher education, but at the same time, this is a big number which we are turning, which we are, what do you say, bringing in articles being published from India. This is a very good number, and we are all proud of that. But when we think about, when we go more into the statistics, we could find that in 2014, where the Nature Index has done a statistics regarding the analysis or with respect to the predatory journals and all, it is so, what do you say, it is, we have to say that only 51 percentage of predatory, or 51 percentage of faculty members and 32 percentage of doctoral students were authors in predatory journals. You know what are predatory journals. So this is very, what do you say, very shocking to hear that faculty members, 51 percentage of faculty members, around half percentage of faculty, more than half percentage of faculty members and 32 percentage of doctoral students are authors of predatory journals. We need to think about why. What is the reason for this much amount of members or faculty members and students being prone, or they are being forced to become authors of predatory journals? Take the look at the next one. 8,000 predatory journals are churning out more than 4 lakh items each year. Very bad. We have more than 8,000 predatory journals. That means most of our researchers as well as the academicians, they are going for these types of predatory journals. Then again the question comes, why? What is the reason? We could see that 51% of predatory authors were from affiliated colleges, 18% of predatory authors from private universities, and again 15% of predatory authors from state universities. Very horrible situation. And now we have to think, what is the reason why these, we including myself, the faculty members as well as the doctoral students, why we are forced to do such type of activities? Why? Because the UGC have come up with many rules with respect to faculty members as well as doctoral students. UGC has come up with the API rule and all. They suggested that the teachers have to produce, or they have to submit, get published, what do you say, this number of journals for applying for their promotion. So it has become mandatory. So what happens is that research, to do research has become a mandatory thing for the faculty members. It was not a preference or a priority. For if you think of when I talk about me, actually I was working in a training college, Srinarana Training College, for the last around 10 years. Then I moved to Department of Education. Then many of them asked me, why you are moving to Department of Education? Because my college was very near to my home and I was very comfortable with going to my college and all, very happy with the family and all. So many people asked me, why are you going to? But the only thing which my mind, what do you say, what my choice, why I choose Department of Education, was only thing was that Department of Education or departments, university departments, they give importance, if equal importance to research also. So research was one of my passion. Teaching and as well as research, both were my passion. So I thought, if I move to university department, I'll be able to carry out my researches along with my teaching also. So only because of that, and that was the motivating factor which took me to the university department. So research is something which needs to be done with passion, or which should come within our mind, like teaching. There are teachers who teach like anything. They have that passion. So that teachers, they don't want to do research. They don't have, they don't be passionate about research, but they are very good teachers. As far as, so this particular UGC's decision for bringing, what do you say, this number of research articles for a teacher, it put pressure among the teachers. Those teachers, even the very good teachers who are teaching at their best, they are also forced to do research. Which they don't like, and they have to do research and come up with publication. So what happens, that they are forced to do such type of predatory, they have to forced to approach such type of predatory journals. And when you come to doctoral students also, you could see that in 2016 regulation, again university UGC has come up with another decision that the doctoral students, they have to submit two publications before submitting their doctoral thesis. Actually, these should not come as a mandatory thing. Even the research scholars who are doing research, they are supposed to bring in papers. They are supposed to write research papers. It should not be a mandatory thing, or it should not be any behavior which should be imposed by an organization to the researchers. Since a research scholar who is doing research, he or she might be having a passion to do that research. So he or she should publish the research. So these type of, what you say, the imposed behavioral changes, which was imposed by these organizations, when it was imposed, these faculty members as well as doctoral students who were not supposed to do all these types of activities, they were forced to come up with predatory journals as well as these types of publications. And again, as a chain reaction, what happened is that connected to this, the mushrooming of predatory journals have taken place. You could see that many journals from Punjab, from Rajasthan, those areas, UP, lots of publishers, they have emerged like anything, and they were starting to bargain with the students as well as teachers. Give us 10,000 rupees, we'll get it published within 1 day or 1 hour. So these all things, actually, what do you say? These are the things which affected the three pillars of our scientific research. It affected the academic integrity of the teachers as well as the students, because that this is the thing. What I want to tell is that many of the rules and regulations that may sometimes act against the against the responsible conduct of a particular thing. And when this scenario was there, again UGC understood that this is going out of their control, and they have come up with another thing called UGC consortium. Yeah, you know that UGC care consortium. They have developed a care consortium, and they have another thing was introduced. They have listed a number of UGC care listed journals. And even as you all know, when UGC come up with this care consortium, initially most of the predatory journals were included in that care list. Many of them were giving money, and it was, but now more or less it has changed. We believe that more or less it has changed. I don't know whether it has changed a lot or not, but still we could see that there are some of the journals which are not good enough being included in the journal list, and there are many journals, very good journals, which are not being included in the care list. So as a researcher or as a passionate researcher, it is very important for us to know which are the predatory journals, or which are the journals which we could approach and get it published. These are all the things which we need to understand well before starting a research. So when now coming to the research ethics, so to the theory part, we know that when you talk about ethical research, we need to talk about three important things. The first one is the responsible conduct, second is the plagiarism, and third is the copyright. And when it comes, and now I'll be talking to you about I'll be talking to you about the responsible conduct of research. So earlier I was talking, saying you that it is very important that we need to know what are the contexts which we need to follow while doing or while going to start a research. And also the same equally important is we need to know what are the misconducts which we have to avoid. We never think of the misconducts. Sometimes we may think of the conducts, but we never think of the misconducts which we need to avoid. So it is very important that we should know that. I believe that there are a lot number of MAT scholars also in this particular platform. Very good that you have also attended this particular seminar, because I think that it is good for you, because I must say that many of the research scholars, they come to, even they approach me and ask me, many of them come and ask me, teacher, do you have any book or any video or anything, any material which you could share with us so that we could learn for the examination. I must say that these are the things which are not for the examination. So we have MAT scholars as well as the research scholars here who are going to start the research, as well as who are in the research also. So those who are in the research also, you also find, please do keep in mind that these are the things which you should have understood well before starting your research. It is very much important that we should know all these things well in advance. If any of the MAT scholars, if you are moving with your research, or in your higher studies, if you are moving for research doctoral fellowship, doctorate, then please do keep in mind all these publication as well as research ethics. And another thing you have to keep in mind is that whenever we talk about research ethics and publication ethics, many of the students or many of the people come and tell me, teacher, you talk about research ethics, publication ethics we don't need now, because we are now doing research, and publication ethics will be needed only after completing my research. So you can tell me about the publication ethics later. Now please tell me about the research ethics. This is another ignorant thing which we keep in our mind. Actually, this research and publication ethics, both are one. Both are one and similar. I must say that without understanding the ethical principles of a publication, you cannot do a good research. In the other way, if you are not following the ethical research principles, you will not be able to have a good publication. So it is both vice versa. You have to follow ethical principles of publication for a good research, and as well, and also you have to follow the ethical principles of research for having a very good publication. So when you talk about the context, first let us have what are the contexts which you need to follow for a very good research and publication ethics. The first one is, you might have heard about this word. Have you COPE, COPE? You might have seen this particular word or this particular abbreviation if you have searched any of the Scopus indexed journals. If you visit any of the Scopus indexed journal website, if you visit the website of Elsevier, Springer, then Taylor and Francis, any of them, if an MDPS, any of them, if you visit, you could see these, these letters, COPE, which means the Committee on Publication Ethics. So actually, Committee on Publication Ethics it is an international forum for editors and publishers of peer-reviewed journals that provide the code of conduct and best practice guidelines that define publication ethics and advises editors on how to handle cases of research and publication misconducts. So for this, let me come up with one of my experiences in life so that I can make it more clear about what is scope. So after as I told you, during my, one of the Tara was introducing me. She was talking about my postdoctoral fellowship and all. So let me tell you that I was so lucky to get to postdoc fellowship, and I was able to work in some of the universities in US. So when I went, it was in 2014 when I first went for my postdoctoral fellowship, and it was the first time when I am going abroad for an academic venture. And I was very ambiguous about many things because it was the first time I am moving away from my country also. So when I reached there, and during that fellowship, I had only 6 months with me. because I was carrying my family also, and I was on deputation. The government gave me only 6 months, so I need to finish my my researches within 6 months and come back. And half of my research or the output of my research was to implement it in my own country. So what I have to do is that I have to associate with the university, and many researchers there were carrying about in that particular area. So I have to work with them and bring that researches back to my country for implementing it here. That was my intention. So actually, when I reached there, I thought of publishing. I was working with a professor, and he told me that you can have independent research. So you are already a doctor, a PhD doctorate scholar. You are doing your postdoc. That means you are an independent scholar. You are no more. You should no more dependent on the mentor for that. So you can have independent researchers, independent papers of yours. You can collaborate with any other institutions and can do many papers. So at that time, one of my colleagues were working in Bahardar University. Bahardar University is in Ethiopia. Okay. So he was an associate professor working in that university in the teacher education field only. So I thought of associating with him for collaborate for doing a paper. So what I did is that what do you say? Uh, what I did was I told him that we could come up with. So I thought of I developed when I was in US. I developed one literacy scale called energy literacy scale. So I was doing something with respect to energy education. So I developed an energy literacy scale, and I was trying to find out the extent of energy literacy among the youth of India as well as Ethiopia. As you all know, Ethiopia is it is an African country. It is which is very similar to that of India. That is, it is also a developing nation, and it also do have the same energy principles which we do have. Indian energy principles, and their principles are more or less the same. So I was trying to find out compare the energy literacy of both the youth of India as well as the youth of Bahardar. Not only Bahardar, I was trying to find out in Ethiopia, but I limited my study, delimited my study to Kerala University here in India and to Bahardar University in Ethiopia. And my population were undergraduate students here. And I was collecting data from BTech students as well as BEd students, professional graduate students. So actually, simultaneously, I was here in India. I was collecting data through Google Forms, and many of my friends here helped me in that. And the professor in Bahardar, he collected from the Bahardar University also. And after the analysis and all, I was so happy that I have two sets of data with me. I analyzed the two sets of data and was so happy that I'll be able to make many papers from that. I can have one paper about the, with respect to the energy literacy of Indian students, say university students, and another paper, energy literacy of Pakistan, Ethiopian university students. Another paper, compare Ethiopian and Indian university students with respect to their energy literacy. So I was so happy. Many papers which can be given to Scopus industry journals and come up with very good publications. So I wrote the paper. We together had everything done, and I just submitted the two papers. I had one with Indian university students and the other one with Ethiopian students. So I thought of publishing it, and I could find I started checking, browsing for different journals. I could find that there were many journals with respect to energy policy, energy reports and all. So I thought of publishing in that. I gave one of my paper to one journal and the other one to another journal. I waited, and I could see that after 4 months, I received uh, I received letters from these two editors. I received letters from the editors of these two journals. So they asked me about the, COPE certificate. So IRB certificate. They told me that, can you please share me the IRB certificate? So I was just wondering, what is this IRB? It was the first time I am hearing about IRB. So I was checking I checked, I could find that IRB means nothing but Institutional Review Board. So what I could understand is that the IRB is a board which every institution should have. So this type of the IRB. So when I talk to the university in Kerala, when I talk with persons from University of Kerala, I could see that we don't have such type of IRB boards. But then I asked them, sir, we don't have any IRB board. Then the editor, he told me that uh, it is a mandatory requirement of COPE. As per COPE, it is a mandatory requirement, and if you don't have such an IRB report, you will not be able to publish paper in a Scopus Index journal, which follows the COPE, COPE Code of Conduct. Then only I could understand that there is something called the Committee on Publication Ethics. Then I went to the website of this particular Springer journal, and I could see about the various rules which has been written by the COPE with respect to publication of articles. So I could see that the COPE have come up with many rules and regulations which need to be followed well in advance of starting your research as well as while doing your research. And they have what they have come up with the code of conduct as well as the best practices guidelines. Actually, it is this code of conduct or the best practices guidelines which is followed by the editors as well as the reviewers of Scopus Index journals. So only if the editor and the reviewers follow this particular code of conduct of the COPE, then only that particular journal will come under Scopus indexed. If you want to check whether a particular journal is Scopus indexed, you know that every day, each day you are getting millions of number of emails from different publishers. Many emails I am receiving every day regarding that we are Scopus indexed. You can publish it within 1 month, or you can get it backdated publication from us if you give us more number. We are UGC care listed journal. We have Scopus index journals. So please do take care that you have to check whether exactly this particular journal is in Scopus indexed or not. Because unless they follow the code of conduct or the best practices guidelines being given by the COPE, they will not be enlisted in the Scopus indexed journal. So you go to the Scopus indexed Scopus site and check. You can give the ISSN number. Don't put the name of the journal in that, because they might have duplication. So try to put the ISSN number and check whether this particular ISSN number is included in the Scopus or not. So if you find that it is included, you could understand that that particular journal is following all the code of conducts and the best practices guidelines as prescribed by the COPE, which is an international forum. So those journals, so they cannot publish. Actually, such type of journals will not be able to publish your backdated papers, or they cannot publish your journals within 1 month or 2 months. They will not be able to publish. So COPE is nothing but it is an international forum for editors and publishers, which gives you the code of conducts and the best practices guidelines. So if you are passionate with research, I must say that you have to go to the site of COPE. You can browse what is COPE, and you can find what are the code of conducts and best practices guidelines which are given by the COPE for doing research. And the following slides, I'll be showing you what are the code of conducts which have to be followed as per COPE, and which are the misconducts which are to be avoided as per COPE. So when you come to next one, which is said, this is one of the contexts which need to be followed by followed as per COPE, Committee on Publication Ethics. I was talking you about IRB. Yes, actually the editor of Energy Policy, he was asking me, you please share me the report of IRB. Share me the then I was totally worried, what is this IRB? So I just contacted the professor, my colleague in Baghdad University, and I asked him, sir, they are asking for IRB report, Indian Institutional Review Board report. Actually, I don't have such a report with me with respect to University of Kerala. Do you have one? I was asking him. So he told me, yes, I do have one and I can share it with you. So I was very much surprised that Indian universities, we were not following the code of conduct which is being practiced, which has to be practiced, which is a mandatory ethical principle as per COPE. Actually, our universities don't have institutional review board. So this is the incident which was happening in 2014. Actually, I discussed this particular thing when I came back in 2015, and I was discussing this particular matter with many of the academicians or many of the officials of Kerala University, and told that if we don't have such an IRB, we may not be able to publish very good papers, yeah, with the institute, what do you say, Scopus Index journals and all. So anyway, luckily now we do have in University of Kerala, we do have a research directorate where if there is anything we can submit our projects as well as any papers if we want. If we believe that we need to get it published in Scopus Index journals, you can well in advance put it in front of the IRB board and get it approved. So now we need to know what is an IRB board. So Institutional Review Board or IRB board is an administrative body established to protect the rights and welfare of human research subjects recruited to participate in research activities conducted under the auspices of the institution with which it is affiliated. So it is a board which is to be constituted in the university or in any institution. Since we are having, what do you say, an affiliating system of education, as I told you earlier, the university is the institution where this IRB board should come. But I think if Marvanios is an autonomous institution, Marvanios, they can have an IRB board of themselves. If they are autonomous or if they become a university, they can have an IRB board or they will have a research directorate of themselves, which may handle all these issues. So if you are trying to, if a faculty is going to do a particular project, then that particular proposal for that project has to be submitted to the IRB, the research directorate, and the research director board of members. They have to approve that particular project proposal. If there is any, what do you say, if it is not feasible, they will be trying to find out the feasibility of that project. If it is not feasible, they can reject the project proposal, and if if it is not so good, they can ask them to review again and submit it again. And if it is good, they can accept the proposal. So you can connect. This is what is happening in your doctoral, what do you say, in your doctoral viva. As you know, when you submit, as far as research scholars is concerned, so IRB report is very necessary. So when I do a research project, now currently I am dealing with many of the research projects. As you all know, we faculty members, teachers in your institution as well as in my institution, we are all dealing with many research projects inside and inside India as well as abroad countries in collaboration. So such projects, first we have to get the, what do you say, the approval of an IRB board. Otherwise, what happens after finishing our project, we are preparing papers, and if we go to publish in a Scopus Index journal, they will ask you for the IRB report, and we will not be having any report. But as far as doctoral students are concerned, please don't worry. You have your review, what do you say, doctoral review. You have your report, no, doctoral viva report as well as two review reports, pre-submission report, all these things. This is exactly what is called the IRB report. So when you submit your proposal in the board, in the doctoral committee, what the doctoral committee members, including all the guides, the doctoral committee members of the department, they all sit together and they are trying to find the feasibility of that study. And if it is feasible, they will approve, and if it is not feasible, they will reject it. So that is the feasibility is studied in terms of very many factors, because since we are studying the human subjects, there are many other things which has to be taken into accounts. So this is what is called the IRB. So IRB is very important, but as far as the research scholars are concerned, please don't worry about IRB. Your IRB report is the thing which you have within your hands with respect to your review letters. So after your doctoral program, if you are going to publish your paper, if the editor asks you to share your IRB report, please don't get worried. You can share your doctoral pre-submission report or your review report with them. So that will work. Okay, so that is IRB. And next, again, this is something which I told you earlier. This is how the process takes place. Authors should be able to submit a statement from the Research Ethics Committee or Institutional Review Board indicating the approval of the research. This was what my editor was asking me. I need to give him any IRB report or the Research Committee, Ethics Committee report. And actually, I can connect you with another example also. I was in 2020, I was collaborating with the Ohio University of USA, and we were doing a project together, an international project together for Intel Bangalore. So it was about a project which was for the we are evaluating the educational technology implementation. We know that almost all the schools of our states are now we have smart classrooms. So we were trying to find out the effectiveness of these smart classrooms, and Intel Bangalore, as you all know, Intel are the funding agency for these things. They funded us for this project for around 10 lakh rupees, and myself and two scholars from Ohio University, we were together doing that particular project. So when I was collaborating with them, actually the IRB board of Ohio University, they sent me a mail and told me that I must write some examinations to get the approval of IRB of Ohio University, USA. So I started learning two, three papers I need to learn. And finally, I had an online exam by the IRB board. And after getting 80% of mark for that exam only, I was included as one of the, investigators of that particular project. So that is the, ethical things which are happening abroad. So every institution or every university, they do have institutional review board, and they do have a lot of ethical context as well as principles. And only if you want to become a scholar or a research scholar or a project fellow of that particular institution, you must have to abide the rules which is being followed by the IRB board. So that is the significance of an institutional review board. Okay. So the next conduct is human and animal rights. As sometimes I must say that we sometimes sometimes നമ്മൾ മലയാളത്തിൽ പറയുകയാണെങ്കിൽ കണ്ണടച്ച് പാല് കുടിക്കുന്ന ചില സന്ദർഭങ്ങളുണ്ട്. We know that we are dealing with human subjects. We all know all the education researchers, what all researchers we are doing in education under the faculty of education is with respect to human and small kids, even child students as well as adult. We are dealing with human beings, and as you all know, there are lots of Human Rights Act as well as Animal Rights Act. Though we know that if we want to do researches with respect to human subjects, it is very necessary that we need to get approval from the Human and Animal Ethical Board Committee. പക്ഷേ പലപ്പോഴും what we do is that നേരത്തെ പറഞ്ഞതുപോലെ നമ്മൾ കണ്ണടച്ച് പാല് കുടിക്കും. If you take the doctoral committee report, if you just download it and look, you could see a sentence. There is a sentence whether this particular research needs ethical clearance, human and animal ethical clearance. There is a sentence which is asked in the doctoral committee report. Till now, even for the last research committee also, we are putting no. I don't know why we are moving with such a decision. We are putting it no. But it is very important that if you do a research with respect to human being or human subject, it is necessary that we need to get the approval of Human and Ethical Board Committee as per the Helsinki Declaration. Again, when I talk in the earlier case, I told you, I was doing a research. So the similar research, actually, my paper, when I was doing that paper in Kerala University, I didn't have any human and animal right clearance from the board. But when I asked my colleague, actually, I asked him, please share me that report. He was sharing me the report, and I could share that report to the editor also. But with respect to my study in Kerala University, I was unable to share the report because I didn't have such a report. And prior to or in advance to the implementation of my research, I didn't know that this should be done. So it is very necessary that, when you deal with any human or animal subjects, it is very important that you should get it done. And you know something, our university do have an human and animal right committee, and which is being constituted every 6 months. And after this experience, after coming back from US, after my this experiences, now whenever I do a research, even for my students also, I submit the particular research in front of the human and animal ethical board of our university and get it done. Because I always ask my research scholars that you should get it published in Scopus Index journals. So if you want to get it published in Scopus Index journals, sometimes they may ask whether you have this report or not. If they ask, you can share with them. But the only thing with respect to our university is it happens every 6 months. So you can submit your application at any time of the year, and you can wait. Then when the body is constituted, they will let you know that this particular meeting will happen, and then you can go there and attend the meeting, and you can get it established that it won't affect any human, it won't affect their any ethical issues. It doesn't have any ethical issues, then the committee will give you the permission to do this research. You know something, actually sociology students, psychology students, all these doctoral students, they undergo this process, but the education students, they are not undergoing this particular process. Why? Because that as you know that even our university, it happens only in every 6 months. So again, if we are giving such type of submissions to the university, what happens is that it may take more time. So if you are interested, if you are interested, along with your guide, you can apply for the human and animal right, ethical right. You can give an application to the committee. And the thing is that you can say that you are during your otherwise, if the editor asks you for such type of papers, you can approach the department and get a paper signed from the doctoral committee chairman that all these things were being discussed during the doctoral committee and it has been suggested. So such papers you can do. But if you are a postdoctoral scholar, or if you are a faculty member who is doing research, it is compulsory, or it is very necessary that you can apply for such a human and animal ethical board committee. You can apply for that, and when they call for that, you can ask. Even actually last day, a Sindhi teacher, you might know Sindhi teacher was asking that when one of her foreign scholars, when he applied for a Scopus Index journal, they asked him, the foreign scholar, they asked her that please share the human and animal right ethical paper. So she came and asked me when and where we have to apply for this particular thing. So it is very important. Please do keep in mind that human and animal right is very important. So manuscript reporting studies involving human participants, human data, or human tissue must include a statement on ethics approval and consent. Include a name of ethics committee that approved the study. Okay, I think I must hurry. And the third conduct is conflict of interest. So the first one, we were talking about institutional review board. Second one was about the human and animal rights. Third is about the conflict of interest. Again, if you have read any articles from Scopus Index journals, you might have seen towards the end of the article, you might have seen this particular thing, conflict of interest. You might have seen a sentence written that others doesn't have any conflict of interest. You might have seen such a sentence. If you are submitting an article to a Scopus Index journal without this sentence, then the editor will ask you to put a sentence or like this in your article. Why? What is the reason? You know what is meant by conflict of interest? So conflict of interest, from the very word itself, you could understand that it is there exists no conflict of interest between whom. Sometimes there may be a group of researchers doing a particular research. So you need to establish that there is no conflict of interest among the researchers who is doing the project. Again, I can come up with an example from my end. So, as I told you earlier, in 2020, I was dealing with one international project. So, that international project was we three of us we were doing that particular project. and one myself from here and two others from USA. And actually, this particular project was funded by Intel. As you know, Intel is a private company. We need to think why Intel is funding such a project. As I told you earlier, actually in 2012 only, the Kerala government have come up with what do you say, IT at school. You might have heard about IT at school. Now it is renamed as KITE, and in 2012 only, and the ITH school have come up with many initiatives like what do you say, equipping all the schools with smart classrooms and all. Later it was taken up by KITE, and almost all the classrooms in almost all the government schools are being what do you say, almost all the schools were equipped with the smart classrooms. And this KITE, the almost all the computers are being given uh, um, by Intel only. For the schools, they were giving so Intel as a business organization, what they want is that they have to do research, and they need to find that if there is any effectiveness with respect to this particular smart classrooms, they might have more opportunity of giving more and more computers and other equipments to the schools. So this made them to do a project on in this particular thing. So their interest is to find out the effectiveness. So what happens is that at the end of the project, they want us to write in favor of the company. As you all know, അവർക്ക് എന്തായാലും നമ്മൾ നല്ലതാണ് അല്ലെങ്കിൽ this effectiveness ഭയങ്കരമാണ് എന്ന് പറയാനായിരിക്കും ഇഷ്ടം. So they want us to be like that. So what happens is that in some projects, you know, in pharmaceutical research, all these such a type of researches, these things happen. So when അപ്പോൾ നമ്മളിവിടെ മൂന്ന് പേരുണ്ടാവും. So I must say that I don't have any conflict of interest with my researches, which may affect the, what do you say, the result of my research. Sometimes Intel being an Indian company, they can influence me. And we can give you more amount and please write for us. If I make the result more favorable to the Intel and make a research paper, then the other two researchers, they can directly come and ask me, or they can reject. We do have conflict of interest with the paper written by Dr. Divya Senan. They can write to the editor. So conflict of interest is nothing but when an author or the institution of the author has a relationship, financial or otherwise, with individuals or organizations that could influence the author's work inappropriately. A conflict of interest may exist. It is also called competing interest. So, there exists no conflict of interest in എഴുതുന്നതിൽ കൂടി. If you are writing such a statement in your article, you are showing that your research was done ethically and there is no competing interest or conflict of interest with any of the institutions or among the researchers. So this is another, what do you say, yet another conduct which you have to follow while doing research. So research നടക്കുമ്പോൾ തന്നെ നമ്മൾ ഇതിനെക്കുറിച്ച് അറിഞ്ഞിരിക്കണം. Sometimes some of the agencies will be approaching you and they will be telling you that we can give you all these things, and what do you think, you have to come up with a result which may be favorable to us എന്ന് പറയുമ്പോൾ നിങ്ങൾ മനസ്സിലാക്കുക അതിനകത്ത് that particular research, why we are doing that research is for us, we are trying to prepare papers, we are trying to publicize our research to the world. അങ്ങനെ അതാണ് നമ്മുടെ ഉദ്ദേശം. If we are unable to publicize our research, then why we do the research? അതാണ് അടുത്ത question. So it is very important that we do not have any conflict of interest while doing the research. Then only you can write that we don't have any conflict of interest എന്ന് നിങ്ങൾക്ക് ആർട്ടിക്കിൾ എഴുതാൻ പറ്റത്തുള്ളൂ. And the fourth one is informed consent. So what is informed consent? Very, very important conduct you have to follow as a research scholar. Whenever research scholars go with whenever you look at the tools, if you get an opportunity to find tools from abroad, you could see that of their all the tools starts with the informed consent form. But whereas we never give such an informed consent form to our sample. What is informed consent form? Again, I can tell you an example. You all know that in the sprinkler issue, which happened during the pandemic period, sprinkler issue, which was one of the പ്രതിപക്ഷം ഒരുപാട് ഭരണ നേതൃത്വത്തെ ചോദ്യം ചെയ്ത ഒരു സംഭവമായിരുന്നു sprinkler issue. So this sprinkler issue, what is this sprinkler issue? Actually, sprinkler was a company who were trying to collect data from the people about their health മാറ്റേഴ്സ് അല്ലെ, ഹെൽത്ത് ഇഷ്യൂസിനെ കുറിച്ച് കളക്ട് ചെയ്യാൻ വേണ്ടിയിട്ട് കൊണ്ടുവന്ന ഒരു കമ്പനിയാണ്. ബട്ട് വാട്ട് ഹാപ്പൻഡ് ഈസ് ദാറ്റ് ആഫ്റ്റർ 2-3 ദേ സ്റ്റാർട്ട് കളക്ടിങ് ദ ഡേറ്റ ഓൾസോ, ബട്ട് അറ്റ് ദ സെയിം ടൈം ഇഷ്യൂ ആയി, കോൺട്രവേഴ്സി ആയി, ഇറ്റ് ഓൾ സ്റ്റോപ്ഡ്. ഇത് കളക്ട് ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റത്തില്ല എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞു. വൈ? ബിക്കോസ് ദർ വാസ് എ കോൺട്രവേഴ്സി ദാറ്റ് ദിസ് പെർട്ടിക്കുലർ സ്പ്രിംഗ്ലർ കമ്പനി ക്യാൻ take the data and they can give to some other pharmaceutical companies. You all know that what is the biggest, expensive, which is the most expensive thing in the world. You know that it is nothing but data. Yes, you all know. നമ്മളെ ഫേസ്ബുക്കിൽ രണ്ടോ മൂന്നോ പരസ്യം ഒന്ന് കണ്ടു നോക്ക് അബൌട്ട് നമ്മൾ ഫേസ് ക്രീമിനെ കുറിച്ച് 2-3 പരസ്യം കണ്ടു കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ യു നോ ദാറ്റ് പിന്നെ കംപ്ലീറ്റ് വരുന്ന പരസ്യങ്ങളെല്ലാം ഫേസ് ക്രീമിനെ കുറിച്ചായിരിക്കും. So that is what AI is doing now with our data. So we don't have privacy now. Do we have privacy? No, we don't have privacy. നമ്മൾ എന്ത് കാര്യം, what we are searching for, നമ്മൾ പറയാറുണ്ട്, നമ്മളിപ്പോ മനസ്സിൽ ചിന്തിക്കുന്നത് we could see in our Facebook. ജസ്റ്റ് ഞാനിപ്പോ മനസ്സിൽ ചിന്തിച്ചതല്ലേ ഉള്ളൂ, ഇതാ വന്നു എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞു. That is what is now happening in AI, because you will be searching for things. So such type of advertisements will be coming. Why? Because data is that much important. With this small, with a big data analytics കളിക്കുന്നത് കൊണ്ടാണ്. So if you have data with you, you can do wonderful things. If a company has data about you, they can do many things. So sprinkler issue in the time, I was asking my father, I thought actually it was during that time only we were also conducting this particular research with respect to Intel in a project. We were doing that. So we were collecting data through an online survey form, which is called Qualtrics. You know, Survey Monkey, Qualtrics polulla online tool. We were using Qualtrics for that. And actually the one who was IRB board of Ohio University, they were only collecting the data, and we were collecting data from around 20,000 teachers. Our population was teachers. We were talking about the effectiveness of educational technology in the classrooms of schools in Kerala, and we were collecting data from teachers only, high school teachers of Kerala, and we collected data from around 20,000 teachers, and it was through online. And since it was actually the sprinkler issue and our project were parallelly moving. So what happens is that in Qualtrics vadi ingane data collect ചെയ്തത് കാരണം this very second day what happened is that in the paperle വാർത്ത വന്നു that University of Kerala is taking data from the teachers, and they are taking data for a US university. They are taking all the data from the teachers of Kerala and giving to the US university എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞൊരു വലിയ ഒരു പേപ്പറിൽ ഒരു ഇതൊക്കെ വന്നു. And I was totally worried. Actually, I was not worried. The kite people means the kite was one who was in between this project, because actually kite also want to know whether there was any effectiveness, and our implementing agency, though Intel was funding, kite was in between. ഞങ്ങളുടെ രണ്ടുപേരുടെയും ഇടയിൽ ഇന്റർമീഡിയറ്ററി ആയിട്ട് നിന്നത് കൈറ്റ് ആയിരുന്നു. അപ്പൊ കൈറ്റ് ഡയറക്ടർ he called me and told me that Divya, such type of issues are coming up, what will we do? എന്തെങ്കിലും പ്രശ്നമുണ്ടോ? അപ്പോൾ then I told him, sir, don't worry, we need not have to worry, because we have done everything in the proper manner, you need not worry എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞു. Why? Because എന്തുകൊണ്ട് എന്ന് ചോദിച്ചാൽ when we talk about sprinkler issue, sprinkler was collecting data where this particular informed consent form was missing. And I talked to my father and asked him, Daddy, വീട്ടിൽ ഇങ്ങനെ ആൾക്കാർ വന്നിരുന്നു എന്ന് ചോദിച്ചു സർവേക്ക്. So he told me, yes, a group of people came. I asked him what all questions did they ask. So he told me they were asking about my various, what do you say, diseases, about diabetics, how long it has been you are taking medicine for this pressure, blood pressure, cholesterol, and all these many things they have asked for. Then I asked him, did they ask any consent from your end for taking these data from you? So then he told, no, they didn't ask me. Then I asked him, why didn't you ask him? എന്തുകൊണ്ടാണ് നമ്മൾ എന്തിനു വേണ്ടിയിട്ടാണ് ഇത് എടുക്കുന്നതെന്ന് ഡാഡി എന്താ ചോദിക്കാഞ്ഞേ? Without consent, why did they get the data from you? You should have given the data. ശരിക്കും പറഞ്ഞാൽ the sprinkler was taking the data without letting know the population about the study. So it is very important that when you go for collecting data from a sample, it is mandatory that you should inform them about your study. What are you going to do with the study? What all things you are trying to find from the study? And what are the things which you are going to collect from the individual? Only after knowing about the study, if the individual is giving consent to collect data, then you can collect data from him. Otherwise, what happened is that after collecting data, the sample come and tell may go to the media and tell that they haven't taken any consent and taken my data, and this data this will affect my individually ennu paranju kazhinjal your study can be stopped. So that was what happened to Sprinkler. Sprinkler informed the consent form. It was not given to the sample and they didn't take the consent from the population. അതുകൊണ്ട് what happened? Without the consent, they can give. ഇപ്പൊ ഇങ്ങനെ പറഞ്ഞിട്ടുണ്ടെങ്കിൽ they cannot disclose this data to any other company. വേറൊന്നിനും അവർക്ക് അത് ഉപയോഗിക്കാൻ പറ്റില്ല. ഇപ്പൊ ഇവിടെ നമ്മൾ Sprinkler, they have told that this particular thing will be used only for research purpose. To find out how COVID in the Vyavanam engane, how does it affect different types of people, patients, but if they are trying, if they are not taking a consent from the people, they can give this data to some pharmaceutical company. They can give they can they can huge amount of profit they can give to the some other companies, pharmaceutical companies. So that was why there was a huge maybe the government they didn't know, they unknowingly are involved, but such type of companies, it is very ethical that when they collect data, company should have collected this informed consent form. And with respect to our project, we were not worried because Qualtrics through the Qualtrics survey form, we were implementing the tool, and our tool, it started with the informed consent form. And our formula, only after giving the consent, only those people who have given the consent will be taken to the tool. Avarku maatrame pinne tool kaananum pattathullu, they will be able to complete cheyanum pattathullu. Appo consent form thannavaru maatrame njangal data collect cheyirunnullu. So I wrote a detailed report of all these things and I sent to the KITE. The next day, the KITE director called a press meet. Press meet sir adine kurichu vishadamaayittu paranju, and he told that the the researchers who are being involved in this particular research, they are being given approval by the IRB board. Even Dr. Divya was also given IRB approval. Adellam kazhinjittana human ethical principles as well as everything paalichu kondulla research aanu we are doing ennu paranjappol the thing was closed, the issue was closed, no more issues were there. So informed consent form is very, very important. So let me tell you, my dear research scholars, whenever you develop a tool, please start with the informed consent form. Tudakkathil thanne ningal study, what is this study ennu paranjadinu shesham give a space informed consent form, either tick idanulla oru സ്ഥലം കൊടുക്കുകയോ അല്ലെങ്കിൽ നിങ്ങൾ തന്നെ ഒരു സെന്റൻസ് എഴുതി ചേർക്കുകയോ, അതായത് I am responsible അല്ലെങ്കിൽ I am happy to engage with this particular research എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞ് ഒരു സ്റ്റേറ്റ്മെന്റ് അവിടെ ഇട്ടിരിക്കുന്നവർക്ക് മാത്രം അടുത്തതിലോട്ട് പോകാൻ സാധ്യതയുള്ളത് കൊടുക്കുക. ഇഫ് ഇറ്റ് ഈസ് എ പേപ്പർ ടെസ്റ്റ്, പേപ്പറിലാണ് നിങ്ങൾ കൊടുക്കുന്നതെങ്കിൽ യു ക്യാൻ മേക്ക് ദം ടിക്ക് ഇൻ ദ പേപ്പർ എടുക്കുക. അതർവൈസ് ഇൻ എ ഗൂഗിൾ ഫോമിലാണെങ്കിൽ ഓൾസോ ദ ഫസ്റ്റ് പേജ് ഷുഡ് ബി ഫോർ ദിസ്. only if who give the consent can go to the next page. Make it ensure it for sure. Okay. And even if you go to if you go for publication also, no, if this editor find any manipulation, it seems editor എന്നൊക്കെ പറഞ്ഞാൽ അറിയാലോ, they are very much highly professional people. So if they see at the data itself, they could understand if there is any manipulation. If they find that there is any manipulation in your data, they can ask for the informed consent form. ചോദിക്കാം, informed consent form അയക്കൂ എന്ന് പറയും പോപ്പുലേഷന്റെ, സോ സാമ്പിളിന്റെ. So sometimes they may ask for the entire informed consent form. So what I want to tell you is that after you are collecting data, please don't do that. You keep it with you. Sometimes after giving Scopus Index publication, you can submit the paper. It may take 4 or 5 months to get your approval, and it might take 1 to 2 years for your publication. In between, any reviewer or any editor can ask you for more clarifications. Informed consent form, you have to show them the informed consent form. You might have written that there were 500 samples, but they might think that it's some of a manipulated data. So they can ask you for the informed consent form. Then you are responsible to show the 500 informed consent forms to the editor. So these are the things, various principles. So this is one of the code of conduct you have to follow. Everybody, please do keep in mind that your tool should start with the informed consent form. You can get the template of informed consent form from your, from your netil kodthal thanne kittum template. You template edukka, make it yourself. You can reword it accordingly from your study point of view. Maati ningalku ഉപയോഗിക്കാവുന്നതാണ്. Next is the availability of data and materials. The same thing, what I want to tell you is, here also, whenever the editor or any reviewer asks you to show the data or the raw data or the instructional, any material, tool or anything which is associated with that particular paper, you are viable or you are responsible to give them. Otherwise, they can reject your paper. And as you know, now in all the Scopus Index journals, you have to upload the raw data. You know something, again, I can tell you another example from my experience. In 2014, ആദ്യത്തെ പോസ്റ്റ് ഡോക്ക് ചെയ്യുന്ന സമയത്ത് I went for, it was for only 6 months. So I had the opportunity of presenting my paper in, where in a, what you say, in a conference, or conference to present you. So I was happy that I was presenting the paper, and the chairperson of that paper presentation was the Dean of Physics of A&M University. And after the presentation, he came to me and he was so happy with my presentation, and he told me, he was asking about the various educational, because he was very interested in education, Bloom's taxonomy and all. So during our discussion, I told him that I am also a physics person. I did my master's in physics and all. So I told him that I have developed one of the papers in physics with respect to my doctoral study. So he told me that then why can't we publish it together, because I can contribute some part of the physics and physics data to your study, and we collaboratively can present the paper in an upcoming conference which is happening in Florida. So I told him, yeah, sure sir, I am privileged to work with you. So but actually it was time for me to come back to India, and when I came back to India, then I wrote the paper, I framed everything and all. I sent the paper to him. I submitted the paper to him, and again, so what happened? So I thought that he will be directly submitting the paper to the conference. So the next day, I got a mail saying that please send me the entire raw data you have to publish this, to analyze the data. So I was thinking, so I told sir, I have analyzed it. But he told me, no, I want to reanalyze the data. I can seek the help of a statistician and I will reanalyze the data. I need to find out whether everything is in proper manner. So luckily, actually, I did all the data. My raw data was in the Excel sheet. It was due to luck, because ningale pole thanne anna njanum I didn't know that I need to keep all the data with me, because sometimes in later somebody will ask me for the data. Never I thought like that, but somehow in the computer I Excel sheet. So I just shared my Excel sheet with him. He sought the help of another statistician from his university, Salam Khan. Then he analyzed the data and found that everything was done in the proper manner. He made it sure. എന്നിട്ട് മാത്രമാണ് he submitted the paper to the we submitted the paper to the seminar. And though I was the first author, he sir ആണ് 15 ഡിസംബറിലായിരുന്നു the seminar നടന്നത്. During 2015 ഏപ്രിൽ ആയപ്പോൾ ഞാൻ തിരിച്ചു പോന്നു. So he appeared for, he presented the paper on my behalf. അദ്ദേഹമാണ് പ്രസന്റ് ചെയ്തത്. ആൻഡ് ഐ വാസ് സോ ഹാപ്പി ടു ഷെയർ വിത്ത് യു ദാറ്റ് പേപ്പർ awarded me the best paper award for that conference. അപ്പോൾ ശരിക്കും പറഞ്ഞാൽ അന്ന് ആ ഡേറ്റ എൻ്റെ കയ്യിലില്ലെങ്കിൽ നിങ്ങൾ ആലോചിച്ച് നോക്കിക്കേ, ആ ഒരു ഭാഗ്യം എനിക്ക് കിട്ടത്തില്ലായിരുന്നു. അപ്പോൾ സിൻസ് ദാറ്റ് ഡേ, സിൻസ് ഐ ഹാഡ് ദ ഡേറ്റ വിത്ത് മീ ആൻഡ് ഐ ഷെയർഡ് ഇറ്റ് വിത്ത് ഹിം, that paper which I thought it might not be a very good paper, I underestimated myself and could see that it became the best paper award of that particular conference. അപ്പോൾ ഇതുപോലെയാണ് പലപ്പോഴും വി അണ്ടർ എസ്റ്റിമേറ്റ് അവർ സെൽഫ്. നിങ്ങളുടെ പൊട്ടൻഷ്യലോ നിങ്ങളുടെ കഴിവുകളോ നിങ്ങൾ അറിയുന്നില്ല. സോ ഈ ചെറിയ ചില മിസ്ബിഹേവിയർ കൊണ്ട് വാട്ട് ഹാപ്പൻസ് ഈസ് ദാറ്റ് നമ്മൾ അറിഞ്ഞോ അറിയാതെയോ നമ്മൾ ഇതൊക്കെയും കളയും. So please do keep sure that all your data you should store it. And ഞങ്ങളെ പോലെയല്ല, നിങ്ങൾക്കാണെങ്കിൽ ഇപ്പോൾ you can store it in the cloud. നിങ്ങൾക്ക് ഒരു ബുദ്ധിമുട്ടില്ല. ഞങ്ങൾക്കൊക്കെ ആണെങ്കിൽ അന്ന് എന്താ പറയാ, നമ്മുടെ ഹാർഡ് ഡ്രൈവ് നിറഞ്ഞു പോയി എന്നൊക്കെ നമുക്ക് ബുദ്ധിമുട്ടുകളുണ്ട്. ബട്ട് നൗ ദർ ഈസ് നോ സച്ച് തിങ്സ്. വി ഹാവ് ക്ലൗഡിലോട്ട് ഇടാം. യു ക്യാൻ പുട്ട് ഇറ്റ് ഇൻ യുവർ മെയിൽ ഓർ യു ക്യാൻ പുട്ട് ഇറ്റ് ഇൻ യുവർ ഡ്രൈവ്. ലെറ്റ് ഇറ്റ് ബി ദെയർ. അവിടെ കിടന്നോളും, നോ പ്രോബ്ലം. ആൻഡ് അനദർ തിങ് പ്രിവിലേജ് നൗ യു ഹാവ് ഈസ് ദാറ്റ് എവറി സ്കോപ്പസ് ഇൻഡെക്സ് ജേർണൽ ദേ ഡു ഹാവ് എ ക്ലൗഡ്, ദേ ഡു ഹാവ് എ സ്പേസ് വെയർ യു ക്യാൻ അപ്ലോഡ് യുവർ എക്സൽ ഷീറ്റ്. നിങ്ങളുടെ റോ ഡേറ്റ എക്സൽ ഷീറ്റ് അതിലോട്ട് അങ്ങ് അപ്ലോഡ് ചെയ്തിട്ടിരുന്നാൽ മതി. പിന്നെ നമുക്കൊരു വിഷമവും വേണ്ട. അറ്റ് എനി ടൈം യു ക്യാൻ എന്ത് ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റും, നിങ്ങൾക്ക് തിരിച്ചെടുക്കാൻ പറ്റും. ഞാനിപ്പോൾ മെനി ഓഫ് മൈ തിങ്സ്, മെനി ഓഫ് മൈ മെറ്റീരിയൽസ് വാട്ട് ഐ ഡു ഈസ് ദാറ്റ് ഐ പുട്ട് ഇറ്റ് ഇൻ മൈ എന്താ പറയുക ഫേസ്ബുക്കിലിടും. പലപ്പോഴും ആക്ടിവിറ്റീസ് നമ്മുടെ ഡിപ്പാർട്ട്മെന്റിൽ നടക്കുന്ന മെനി ഓഫ് ദ ആക്ടിവിറ്റീസ് ഐ യൂസ് ടു പബ്ലിഷ് ഇൻ ദ ഫേസ്ബുക്ക്. കൊടുക്കുന്നതിന്റെ പ്രധാന അജണ്ട എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ വർഷങ്ങൾക്ക് ശേഷം ഇഫ് ഐ വാണ്ട് ടു ചെക്ക് എന്നാണ് നടന്നത്, എന്തൊക്കെയായിരുന്നു അതിന്റെ ഇമ്പോർട്ടൻസ്, അല്ലെങ്കിൽ എന്റെ ബ്രോഷർ എന്താണ്, ഇഫ് ഐ വാണ്ട് ടു ഗെറ്റ് ഇറ്റ് ബാക്ക് ഐ ക്യാൻ ഗോ ടു മൈ ഫേസ്ബുക്ക് ആൻഡ് ടേക്ക് ഇറ്റ് ബാക്ക് ബിക്കോസ് ഇറ്റ് ഈസ് ഇൻ ദ ക്ലൗഡ്. എന്റെ കമ്പ്യൂട്ടറിൽ ചിലപ്പോൾ നമ്മൾ ഡിലീറ്റ് ചെയ്ത് പോയിട്ടുണ്ടാവും. സോ മേക്ക് ഷുവർ ദാറ്റ് യുവർ റോ മെറ്റീരിയൽസ് ആർ റോ ഡേറ്റ, എവറിഥിങ് ഹാസ് ടു ബി പുട്ട് ഇറ്റ് in the cloud, and at any time if the editor or reviewer asks for it, you can give him. Okay, so these are the various code of conducts which which the COPE has given us. Okay, it is the institutional review board. Second one is the human and animal rights policy, conflict of interest, informed consent, and the availability of data and materials. I am very sorry, I am running out of time. Sir, excuse me, sir.
Carry on, teacher. Carry on.
അയ്യോ, ഐ എം സോറി സർ, ഞാൻ ആയത് അറിഞ്ഞത് പോലുമില്ല.
Very useful. Very useful.
I'll finish it.
Very useful, teacher. Carry on.
Okay. Sorry, dears. I'll hurry up. So now we'll go with the what are the misconducts which we need to avoid while doing our research. First one, you all know plagiarism, the most harm. ഏറ്റവും വലിയ പ്രശ്നമുള്ള സംഭവമാണ്. We know that plagiarism is meaning kidnapping എന്നാണ് അതിന്റെ മീനിങ് തന്നെ. മറ്റുള്ളവരുടെ ഐഡിയ കിഡ്നാപ്പ് ചെയ്യുക. Whether it is a data, whether it is a words and phrases, it can be either ideas or concepts. Plagiarism ഒരു വലിയ ഫാക്ടറാണ്. And I am not going much into plagiarism because many of you know what plagiarism is. And there are many things. I will share you my slide. You can get an idea what are the different types of plagiarism and how you can prevent it. These are the various rules which are given by COPE. This is not the slide which is made by me, but this is one which is being taken from the COPE, that is Committee on Publication Ethics. This is the thing. So there are different types of copying or plagiarism, which is called literal copying, substantial copying, paraphrasing, and text recycling. So these are the things, and if you are doing it ethically, there are many things how you can avoid these types of plagiarism. പലപ്പോഴും 3-4 വേർഡുകൾ ഒരുമിച്ച് വന്നാൽ അത് പ്ലേജറിസം കാണിക്കാറുണ്ട്. യു നോ ദാറ്റ് അല്ലേ? നമ്മൾ ടേണിറ്റിലൊക്കെ നമ്മൾ കൊടുക്കുവാണെങ്കിൽ യു നോ ദാറ്റ് ഇഫ് ദർ ആർ 3, 4, 5, 6 words coming together, it will shown as plagiarism. അങ്ങനെയുള്ള ഒരുപാട് limitations പ്ലേജറിസത്തിനുണ്ട്. Plagiarism is another thing which I want to tell you is that it is a type of business also. പ്ലേജറിസം എന്ന് പറയുന്നത് കൊണ്ടുവന്നപ്പോൾ തന്നെ ആന്റി പ്ലേജറിസത്തിനുള്ള എങ്ങനെ പ്ലേജറിസം ഒഴിവാക്കാം എന്ന തരത്തിലുള്ള സോഫ്റ്റ്വെയറും ഇറ്റ് ഈസ് നൗ അവൈലബിൾ ഇൻ അവർ റിസർച്ച് അരീന. ദാറ്റ് ഈസ് അനദർ പോയിന്റ് ഓഫ് വ്യൂ. ഞാൻ അതിലോട്ട് കടക്കുന്നില്ല, അത് അതിൻ്റെ ഒരു വേറൊരു വശം എന്നാണ്. പക്ഷേ ആസ് എൻ എത്തിക്കൽ റിസർച്ചർ വി നീഡ് ടു മേക്ക് ഷുവർ ദാറ്റ് വി ഡോണ്ട് പ്ലേജറൈസ് കണ്ടന്റ്സ്. മറ്റുള്ളവരിൽ നിന്ന് എടുക്കുന്നില്ല. ദാറ്റ് ഡസന്റ് മീൻ ദാറ്റ് നിങ്ങൾ കോപ്പി നമുക്ക് റിവ്യൂ പാടില്ല എന്നല്ല. റിവ്യൂ ഓഫ് റിലേറ്റഡ് ലിറ്ററേച്ചർ എന്ന് പറയുന്നതാണ് ദാറ്റ് that is the heart of the research. Now if you want to reach ഒരു പ്രോബ്ലത്തിൽ എത്തണമെങ്കിൽ you need to have reviews. ഞാൻ എപ്പോഴും എൻ്റെ കുട്ടികളോട് പറയുന്ന ഒരു കാര്യമുണ്ട്, if you want to do research you have to read. വായിക്കാതെ ഒരു റിസർച്ച് നടക്കത്തില്ല. റീഡിങ് മേക്സ് ഗുഡ് റിസർച്ചസ് എന്ന് പറയാറുണ്ട്. ഇനി റിസർച്ച് ഞാൻ പ്ലേജറിസം മാറ്റുവാണ്. ഐ ആം ഗോയിങ് ടു നെക്സ്റ്റ് അനദർ എന്താ പറയാ, നെക്സ്റ്റ് ഒരു മിസ്കോണ്ടക്ട് എന്ന് പറയുന്നതാണ് സൈമുൾട്ടേനിയസ് സബ്മിഷൻ. Simultaneous submission, from the very word itself you could understand that simultaneous submission means you are submitting the same paper in two different journals. Namakariam, we will get irritated. Scopus index journals, if you are going to such journals, it may take 3 to 6 months for us to get an acceptance or rejection from the editor. നമ്മൾ ആദ്യം എഡിറ്റർക്കാണ് നമ്മൾ സബ്മിറ്റ് ചെയ്യുന്നത്. എഡിറ്റർ ഇത് വേണോ വേണ്ടയോ എന്ന് തീരുമാനിക്കാൻ തന്നെ 3 മുതൽ 6 മാസം വരെ എടുക്കും. So what happens is that this will make us restless. So what happens, ഒരു 3 മാസം കഴിഞ്ഞിട്ട് കിട്ടാത്തപ്പോൾ എങ്കിൽ വേറെ ആരെങ്കിലും വേറെ ഒന്ന് കൊടുത്താലോ എന്നൊരു തോന്നലുണ്ടാവും. വി ആർ അർജിങ് അല്ലേ, നമ്മുടെ മനസ്സല്ലേ, നമുക്ക് പെട്ടെന്ന് പബ്ലിഷ് ചെയ്ത് കിട്ടണമല്ലോ എല്ലാം. അപ്പൊ നമ്മൾ എന്ത് ചെയ്യും, വിൽ പുട്ട് ഇറ്റ് ഇൻ അനദർ ജേർണൽ. ആഫ്റ്റർ 4 months ആയിരിക്കുമ്പോൾ ഇതിൽ അവിടെ നിന്ന് ഒരു അറിയിപ്പ് വരുന്നുണ്ട്, യുവർ പേപ്പർ ഈസ് ബീങ് അക്സെപ്റ്റഡ്. അറ്റ് ദാറ്റ് ടൈം യു വിൽ ഗെറ്റ് confused. You ആകെ പ്രശ്നമായി, അപ്പുറത്തും ഇപ്പുറത്തും പാടില്ല. because in your submission you have written that this is a novel paper which is not being submitted or published anywhere else എന്ന് നിങ്ങൾ എഴുതി കൊടുക്കുന്നതാണ്. അപ്പോൾ എന്നിട്ട് മറ്റടുത്ത് രണ്ടിടത്ത് പബ്ലിഷ് ചെയ്ത് കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ അത് പ്രശ്നമാവും. ഓക്കെ, സോ സബ്മിറ്റിംഗ് എ മാനുസ്ക്രിപ്റ്റ് ടു മൾട്ടിപ്പിൾ സയന്റിഫിക് ജേർണൽസ് അറ്റ് ദ സെയിം ടൈം, ദാറ്റ് ഈസ് കോൾഡ് സൈമുൾട്ടേനിയസ് സബ്മിഷൻ. സോ ഇനി അതിൽ തന്നെ ഞാൻ ഒരു റെഡ് ലെറ്ററിൽ ഞാൻ എഴുതിയിട്ടുണ്ട്, എന്താണ്, സബ്മിറ്റിംഗ് എ പേപ്പർ ഫോർ എ സയന്റിഫിക് കോൺഫറൻസ് ഡസ് നോട്ട് preclude authors from submitting the same paper for publication to peer-reviewed journals. What I mean here is that if you go for a international journal abroad, you can find that they will be asking only for your abstract. Our abstract is chodikkullu. Only after the presentation they will ask you, do you want to submit in the paper in the conference publication, or you want to publish in some other journals എന്ന് ചോദിക്കാറുണ്ട്. For example, ഞാൻ പറഞ്ഞല്ലോ, I told you that I have presented my paper എന്താണ് ഒരു ഇന്റർനാഷണൽ ജേർണൽ. ഞാൻ അവിടെ പേപ്പർ പ്രസന്റ് ചെയ്യാൻ പോയപ്പോൾ ആഫ്റ്റർ പ്രസന്റിംഗ് ദ ജേർണൽസ് I was surprised that some of the editors of various journals approached me and told me that you can publish your paper with me. ഞാൻ അന്തം വിട്ടുപോയി. കാര്യം നമ്മൾ നാട്ടിലൊക്കെ ആണെങ്കിൽ we need to approach the editors, we need to ask them whether my paper, എൻ്റെ പേപ്പർ ഒന്ന് പബ്ലിഷ് ചെയ്ത് തരുമോ എന്ന് ചോദിക്കണം. പക്ഷേ അവിടെ പേപ്പർ പ്രസന്റ് ചെയ്തപ്പോൾ ഇങ്ങോട്ട് വന്ന് 2-3 പേര് ചോദിച്ചു. ഞാൻ അങ്ങ് പൊങ്ങി. ഞാൻ വിചാരിച്ചു എൻ്റെ പേപ്പറിന്റെ മഹത്വം കൊണ്ടായിരിക്കുന്ന. സോ ഐ കെയിം ബാക്ക് ടു മൈ പ്രൊഫസർ ആൻഡ് ഞാൻ ഭയങ്കര I was so proud to tell him that, oh sir, എൻ്റെ പേപ്പർ ഇങ്ങനെ ആൾക്കാരൊക്കെ ചോദിച്ചു, ഞാൻ എന്ത് വേണം, ഭയങ്കര ഇതായിട്ടൊക്കെ പറഞ്ഞു. അപ്പം പ്രൊഫസർക്ക് പ്രത്യേകിച്ച് ഒന്നും തോന്നിയില്ല. He told that no, you don't give it to them and all. We should wait. We can give to very good publishers എന്നാണ് പറഞ്ഞത്. ദാറ്റ് മീൻസ് ഇനിയും ആൾക്കാർ വരും ഈ പേപ്പറിന് വേണ്ടിയിട്ട് എന്ന് സാറിന് അറിയാം. ബിക്കോസ് ഇൻ എബ്രോഡ് നിങ്ങൾ ഏതെങ്കിലും ഒരു പബ്ലിക് മീൻസ് കോൺഫറൻസിന് പോവുകയാണെങ്കിൽ യു കുഡ് സീ ദാറ്റ് എഡിറ്റേഴ്സ് ആസ് വെൽ ആസ് റിവ്യൂവേഴ്സ് ഓഫ് ജേർണൽസ് വിൽ ബി ദെയർ അറ്റൻഡിങ് ദ കോൺഫറൻസ്. ആൻഡ് ഇഫ് ദേ ഫൈൻഡ് that papers good and interesting, they will come and take your paper. അവർ തന്നെ വന്ന് മേടിച്ചുകൊണ്ട് പോകും പേപ്പേഴ്സ്. സോ അപ്പോൾ നിങ്ങൾ ചോദിക്കും, അത് ഞാൻ അപ്പോൾ പ്രസന്റ് ചെയ്ത പേപ്പർ അല്ലേ, അപ്പോൾ ഞാൻ വേറൊരു കോൺഫറൻസ്. അതാണ് what I told you earlier, that doesn't becomes a simultaneous submission because you have presented the paper with an abstract. You have not given the conference the full paper. So that particular presentation, though the title is the same, you can give to the another journal where it got published. So നിങ്ങൾ international publication abroad പോകണമെങ്കിൽ please make sure that please don't give them the full paper, give them the abstract paper, go present the paper. You will get for sure, ഞാൻ പറയുന്നു, if the paper is good, you will get a request from many of the editors and you can get it in the published in the very good journal. Okay, അപ്പോൾ അത് പ്ലീസ് മേക്ക് ഷുവർ അത് നിങ്ങൾ പുറത്ത് പോകുമ്പോൾ പുറത്ത്. ആൻഡ് ദർ ആർ മെനി ട്രാവൽ ഗ്രാൻസ് ഓൾസോ. പ്ലീസ് റിസർച്ച് സ്കോളേഴ്സിനോട് ഞാൻ പറയുകയാണ്, മേക്ക് യൂസ് ഓഫ് ദ വേരിയസ് ട്രാവൽ ഗ്രാൻസ് ബീങ് ഗിവൺ ബൈ മെനി ഓഫ് ദ ഓർഗനൈസേഷൻസ് ആസ് വെൽ ആസ് യൂണിവേഴ്സിറ്റീസ്. ഈവൻ കേരള യൂണിവേഴ്സിറ്റി കൊടുക്കുന്നുണ്ട്, അതുപോലെ തന്നെ പല യൂണിവേഴ്സിറ്റീസും ടിസ് പോലുള്ള യൂണിവേഴ്സിറ്റീസ് ഒക്കെ കൊടുക്കുന്നുണ്ട്. യു മേക്ക് യൂസ് ഓഫ് സച്ച് ടൈപ്പ് ഓഫ് ട്രാവൽ ഗ്രാൻസ് ആൻഡ് ഗ്രോ എബ്രോഡ്. മേക്ക് എ പ്രസന്റേഷൻ ദെയർ. യു വിൽ ഹാവ് എ വെരി ഗുഡ് എന്താ പറയുക, നിങ്ങൾക്കറിയാം അവിടെ വെരി ഗുഡ് ഡിസ്കഷൻസ് ആണ് നടക്കുന്നത്. ആൻഡ് കേട്ടോ. അപ്പൊ അങ്ങനെയുള്ളതൊക്കെ മുന്നോട്ട് കൊണ്ടുപോവുക. ആൻഡ് ദ തേർഡ് മിസ്കോണ്ടക്ട് ഈസ് നത്തിങ് ബട്ട് ദ ഡ്യൂപ്ലിക്കേറ്റ് പബ്ലിക്കേഷൻ അല്ലേ. Submitting new manuscript containing the same hypothesis, data, discussion points, conclusions as a previously published manuscript. നമുക്ക് after completing our doctoral thesis, we'll have our doctoral thesis with us. അപ്പം നമ്മളുടെ ആഗ്രഹം എന്താണ്? ഇനി പേപ്പർ പബ്ലിഷ് ചെയ്യുക. We need to publish as many papers from our doctoral thesis. So what we do is that if somebody asks for a paper in a conference, you give one paper. When simultaneously another conference വരും, അപ്പോൾ അവിടെയും we need to give another paper. So what we do is that നമ്മൾ എന്ത് ചെയ്യും? ഇവിടെ നിന്നുള്ള കുറച്ച് ഹൈപ്പോത്തസിസ് മാറ്റിയിട്ട് സെയിം തിങ് അവിടെ ഇവിടെയൊക്കെ റെഡിയാക്കി ഒരേ കൺക്ലൂഷൻ എല്ലാം കൂടി വെച്ച് അപ്പുറത്ത് കൊടുക്കും അല്ലേ. Is it correct? No, it is unethical to do duplicate publication. Never do that. Ini, but again here I have given you another statement in red letters. Please do read that sentence. Performing a separate confirmatory study excluding previously published data and with a larger sample size does not amount to duplicate publication, even though the study hypothesis remains the same. What does it mean? As I told you earlier, I was doing a research simultaneously, the same research in University of Kerala and Baghdad University. That research was having the same hypothesis, same objectives, same tool. What differs is that the sample differ. So, അവിടെ നമുക്ക് ഡ്യൂപ്ലിക്കേറ്റ് പബ്ലിക്കേഷൻ എന്ന് പറയാൻ പറ്റത്തില്ല. ഈവൻ ദോ എന്താ പറയാ, the hypothesis is same, if the objectives is the same, the tool is the same, you can do duplication of such researches in various different samples, then it becomes another publication. So performing a confirmatory, for example science like you know that സായിപ്പ് ഒരു ക്രിസ്റ്റൽ ഗ്രോ ചെയ്യുമ്പോൾ സെയിം ക്രിസ്റ്റൽ ഇഫക്റ്റ് നമ്മൾ എങ്ങനെയാണ് ഇന്ത്യയിൽ ഇഫ് ഇൻ ദിസ് പെർട്ടിക്കുലർ കണ്ടീഷൻ ഇൻ ദിസ് പെർട്ടിക്കുലർ പ്രഷർ ടെമ്പറേച്ചറിൽ ഹൗ ഡസ് ഇറ്റ് ഗ്രോ എന്ന് നമ്മൾ പഠിക്കാറുണ്ട് സയൻസിലൊക്കെ എടുക്കുമ്പോൾ. ഒരു ചെറിയൊരു പ്ലാന്റിന്റെ ഗ്രോത്ത് തന്നെ ഇൻ എ പർട്ടിക്കുലർ പ്രഷർ, ഇൻ എ പർട്ടിക്കുലർ ടെമ്പറേച്ചർ, ഇൻ എ പർട്ടിക്കുലർ വെദർ, ഹൗ ഇറ്റ് ഒക്കേഴ്സ്. അതുപോലെ ഇപ്പോൾ ഫോർ എക്സാമ്പിൾ എൻ്റെ മോന് when he was actually involved in a project, he was collaborating with നോർത്താംപ്ടൺ യൂണിവേഴ്സിറ്റിയിലെ കുറച്ച് സ്റ്റുഡൻസുമായിട്ട്, അവിടുത്തെ സ്കൂളിലെ കുറച്ച് സ്റ്റുഡൻസുമായിട്ട് പഠനം നടത്തുമായിരുന്നു about the growth of plants in two different situations. What are the impact of various എന്താ പറയുക ഹെവി മെറ്റൽസിന്റെ ഇഫക്ട് എങ്ങനെയാണ് എന്ന് അവൻ്റെ ഒരു റിസർച്ച് സ്റ്റഡി ഉണ്ടായിരുന്നു. ഇറ്റ് വാസ് വെരി ഗുഡ് റിസർച്ച് സ്റ്റഡി ആക്ച്വലി. ഇറ്റ് ഈസ് എ പാർട്ട് ഓഫ് their work in their school. And I could find that the students were വളരെ നല്ല മനോഹരമായിട്ട് അവൻ ചെയ്യുന്നുണ്ടായിരുന്നു. ടൈറ്റാനിയം ഫാക്ടറിയിൽ നിന്നുള്ള വെള്ളം പോകുമ്പോൾ ആ വെള്ളം എടുത്തുകൊണ്ട് ഗ്രോത്ത്, ആ ഒരു ചെടിയുടെ ഗ്രോത്തിന്റെ പഠനം അവൻ ചെയ്തു. അറ്റ് ദ സെയിം ടൈം നോർത്താംപ്ടണിൽ കുട്ടികൾ they were also doing the same thing. So അവരതിനെ കമ്പയർ ചെയ്തു. So such types of എന്താണ് studies can be done. That doesn't come under the purview of duplicate publication. For example, if you have developed a tool for your doctoral thesis, ഒന്ന് ഡെവലപ്പ് ചെയ്തിട്ടുണ്ടെങ്കിൽ, ഫോർ എക്സാമ്പിൾ നിങ്ങൾ സെൽഫ് എസ്റ്റീം എന്ന് പറയുന്നത് ഒന്ന് ഡെവലപ്പ് ചെയ്തിട്ടുണ്ട്, ആ ഒരു സ്കെയിൽ ഡെവലപ്പ് ചെയ്തു, ആൻഡ് ഫോർ യുവർ സ്റ്റഡി യു ഹാവ് ഡൺ ദാറ്റ് സ്റ്റഡി ഇൻ സെക്കൻഡറി സ്കൂൾസ്, ദ സെയിം യു ക്യാൻ ഡു ഫോർ ഗ്രാജുവേറ്റ് സ്റ്റുഡൻസ്. ബട്ട് അതൊന്ന് സ്റ്റാൻഡർഡൈസ് ചെയ്യണം. സ്റ്റാൻഡർഡൈസ് ചെയ്ത് ഇറ്റ് ഈസ് ഗുണം ഗ്രാജുവേറ്റ് സ്റ്റുഡൻസിന് പറ്റിയ ക്വസ്റ്റ്യൻ ആണ് എന്ന് സ്റ്റാൻഡർഡൈസ് ചെയ്ത് എടുത്തതിന് ശേഷം you can do the same study with respect to graduate students also, or secondary school students, tribal students, very many different type of students you can do. That doesn't mean duplicate publication. Okay, so again you can read what are the guide to duplicate publication. There are different types. It is also simultaneous duplication by paraphrasing, translation, you can read. Then the fourth one is data manipulation and research fraud. Very important thing. Research fraud എന്ന് വിളിക്കും. നമുക്കറിയാം ഫ്രോഡ് എന്നൊരാളെ വിളിക്കണമെങ്കിൽ ഏറ്റവും മോശക്കാരനായ ഒരാളെയാണ് നമ്മൾ ഫ്രോഡ് എന്ന് വിളിക്കുന്നത്. റിസർച്ച് ഫ്രോഡ് എന്ന് പറയുന്നത് ഏറ്റവും മോശക്കാരൻ തന്നെയാണ്. സോ ഡാറ്റ മാനിപ്പുലേഷൻ, ദാറ്റ് ഈസ് ദ മോസ്റ്റ് എന്താ പറയുക ഏറ്റവും മോശമായിട്ടുള്ള പ്രവൃത്തി എന്ന് പറയുന്നത് ഡാറ്റ മാനിപ്പുലേഷൻ. ഇറ്റ് ക്യാൻ ബി ഇൻ ടു ഫോംസ്. ഐദർ ഇറ്റ് ക്യാൻ ബി ഫാബ്രിക്കേഷൻ ഓർ ഫാൾസിഫിക്കേഷൻ. ഫാബ്രിക്കേഷൻ മീൻസ് യു ആർ ഫാബ്രിക്കേറ്റിംഗ് യുവർ എന്താണ് പിന്നെ ഡേറ്റ. നമുക്കറിയാം, നമ്മൾ ചിലപ്പോൾ എടുത്തുകൊണ്ട് വരുമ്പം നമ്മളെ ഗൈഡ് പറഞ്ഞു ഒരു 500 എണ്ണമെങ്കിലും വേണം, പക്ഷെ കൊണ്ടുവന്നപ്പോഴത്തേക്ക് 450 മാത്രമേ ഐ വാസ് ഏബിൾ ടു കളക്ട് ഓൺലി 450 ഡേറ്റ. സോ വാട്ട് വി ഡു ഈസ് ദാറ്റ്, നമ്മൾ എന്ത് ചെയ്യും, നമുക്കൊരു എർജ് ഉണ്ടാവും, ഇനി 50 എണ്ണം കൂടെ എന്നെ കൊണ്ട് പറ്റത്തില്ല, ഒരു കുഴപ്പമില്ല 450ൻ്റെ കൂടെ ഒരു 50 എണ്ണം ഞാൻ തന്നെ അങ്ങ് കുക്ക് ചെയ്താൽ പോരെ എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞ് നമ്മൾ എന്ത് ചെയ്യും, ആ മോളിൽ കിടക്കുന്നത് തന്നെ വീണ്ടും കോപ്പി ചെയ്ത് താഴോട്ട് പേസ്റ്റ് ചെയ്ത് നമ്മൾ 500 ആക്കാനുള്ളൊരു ശ്രമം നടത്തും അല്ലേ. ആൻഡ് ബട്ട് യു ഹാവ് ടു കീപ്പ് ഇൻ മൈൻഡ് ദാറ്റ് ഈ നമ്മളെ മനുഷ്യരുടെ മനസ്സ് അല്ലെങ്കിൽ മനുഷ്യരെ പഠിക്കാൻ ഭയങ്കര പാടാണെന്ന് പറയും അല്ലേ. അതുപോലെ തന്നെയാണ് ഡാറ്റയുടെ കാര്യം. ഡാറ്റ, ദ നേച്ചർ ഓഫ് ഡാറ്റ ഈസ് വെരി ഡിഫിക്കൽട്ട് ടു അണ്ടർസ്റ്റാൻഡ്. നിങ്ങൾ ഇങ്ങനെ ചെയ്യുമ്പം വി ബിലീവ് ദാറ്റ് ഇറ്റ് വോണ്ട് മേക്ക് എനി മച്ച് ഡിഫറൻസ് ഇൻ ദ ഹോൾ ഡേറ്റ. ബട്ട് ഇഫ് യു ഡു സച്ച് തിങ്സ്, ഇറ്റ് മേക്സ് എ ഹ്യൂജ് ഡിഫറൻസ് ഇൻ യുവർ ഡേറ്റ. ആൻഡ് ഇഫ് യു ആർ fabricating data, the editor, the professional editor or a reviewer, they will be able to understand that the data is being fabricated or not. അത് അവർക്ക് മനസ്സിലായി കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ അവർ തിരിച്ചു ചോദിച്ചു കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ you will be blacklisted. And the same thing with respect to falsification. Falsification എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ നമ്മൾ ചെയ്തു വന്നപ്പോൾ നമുക്ക് നമ്മൾ ഇഫക്റ്റീവ്നെസ് കണ്ടുപിടിക്കാൻ, വി ആർ ട്രൈങ് ടു ഫൈൻഡ് ദ ഇഫക്റ്റീവ്നെസ് ഓഫ് എ പർട്ടിക്കുലർ മോഡൽ. പക്ഷെ ചെയ്തു വന്നപ്പോൾ നമ്മുടെ എക്സ്പെരിമെന്റൽ ഗ്രൂപ്പിനും കൺട്രോൾ ഗ്രൂപ്പിനും ഒരുപോലെ നിൽക്കുന്നു. പക്ഷേ അപ്പോൾ പേടി, അയ്യോ നിന്റെ ഹൈപ്പോത്തിസ് ഞാൻ എന്താണ് എൻ്റെ ഹൈപ്പോത്തിസ് ഞാൻ എങ്ങനെ അക്സെപ്റ്റ് ചെയ്യും എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞിട്ട് എന്ത് ചെയ്യും നമ്മൾ? വാട്ട് വി ഡു ഈസ് ദാറ്റ് 3 കിടന്നിടത്ത് വേണമെങ്കിൽ അത് 13 ആക്കുകയോ 3 31 ആക്കുകയോ ഒക്കെ ചെയ്യും നമ്മൾ, അല്ലേ? ഇൻ ഓർഡർ ടു ഗെറ്റ് അവർ പോസ്റ്റ് ടെസ്റ്റിന് നമുക്ക് മാർക്ക് കൂടുതൽ കിട്ടാൻ വേണ്ടിയിട്ട്. സോ അഗെയിൻ ദീസ് ടൈപ്സ് ഓഫ് ഫാൾസിഫിക്കേഷൻസ് ആർ നോട്ട് അലൗഡ് ഇൻ അവർ റിസർച്ച്. ദിസ് മേ ക്രിയേറ്റ്, അവർക്കറിയാം നന്നായിട്ട് ഡേറ്റ സ്റ്റാറ്റിസ്റ്റീഷ്യൻസിന് ദേ വിൽ ബി ഏബിൾ ടു അണ്ടർസ്റ്റാൻഡ് ഇഫ് ദർ ഈസ് ഫാബ്രിക്കേഷൻ ഓർ ഫാൾസിഫിക്കേഷൻ. ഓൾസോ ഐ വോണ്ട് ടു ടെൽ യു ഈസ് ദാറ്റ് റിസർച്ച് സ്റ്റാറ്റിസ്റ്റിക്സ് എന്നൊക്കെ പറഞ്ഞാൽ നമുക്ക് കുറച്ച് കാര്യങ്ങൾ മനസ്സിലാക്കി കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ നമുക്ക് തന്നെ വേണമെങ്കിൽ ഇതൊന്നും ചെയ്യാതെ പോകണമെങ്കിൽ റിസർച്ച് ചെയ്ത് വെക്കാൻ പറ്റും. യെസ്, അത് നമ്മുടെ മിടുക്കൊന്നും അല്ല, അത് എല്ലാവർക്കും നമുക്ക് ചെയ്ത് വെക്കാൻ പറ്റും. പക്ഷേ എ ട്രൂ റിസർച്ചർ, നമ്മൾ യു ഷുഡ് ബി എത്തിക്കൽ ടു യുവർ സെൽഫ്. യു ഷുഡ് നോട്ട് ഡു സച്ച് തിങ്സ്. നമുക്കറിയാം ഫാബ്രിക്കേറ്റ് ചെയ്ത് വെച്ചാൽ നമുക്ക് റിസൾട്ട് കിട്ടും, പക്ഷേ വി ഷുഡ് നോട്ട് ഡു ദീസ് ആർ ഓൾ പാർട്ട് ഓഫ് അവർ അക്കാഡമിക് ഇന്റഗ്രിറ്റി. റിസർച്ച് ഇന്റഗ്രിറ്റിയുടെ ഭാഗമാണ്, നമ്മളത് ചെയ്യാൻ പാടില്ല. Fabrication and falsification are extremely serious forms of research misconduct. So research fraud എന്നാണ് വിളിച്ചറിയപ്പെടും. And you will not be allowed to publish any more researches in Scopus Index journals. Again, the next one is salami slicing. You might have ate salami, അല്ലെ? സലാമി കഴിച്ചവരുണ്ടാവും. സലാമി ഈസ് നത്തിങ് ബട്ട് നമുക്കറിയാം മീറ്റിനെ മിൻസ് ചെയ്തിട്ട് ഉരുട്ടിയെടുത്ത് നമ്മുടെ കയ്യിൽ കിട്ടും. അതിനെ വേണമെങ്കിൽ നമുക്ക് ഇഷ്ടാനുസരണം അക്കോർഡിംഗ് ടു അവർ വിഷ് വി ക്യാൻ മേക്ക് ഇറ്റ് സ്ലൈസസ്. നമ്മുടെ ഇഷ്ടത്തിന് കട്ടിക്ക് വേണമെങ്കിൽ കട്ടിക്കൽ, അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ചെറിയ നേർത്തായിട്ട് വീണമെങ്കിൽ നമുക്ക് വി ക്യാൻ സ്ലൈസ് ഇറ്റ്. ദാറ്റ് ഈസ് സലാമി. സോ ദ സെയിം വേർഡ് ഈസ് യൂസ്ഡ് ഇൻ what is a misconduct of our research also. We have the whole doctoral thesis with us. Now we start slicing it at like any manner so that we will have the maximum number of papers. ഏതായാലും നമ്മൾ 3-4 വർഷം കഷ്ടപ്പെട്ടുണ്ടാക്കിയതാണ്. എന്നാൽ പിന്നെ ഇതിനകത്തുനിന്ന് ഒരു 10-12 പേപ്പർ ഉണ്ടാക്കിയിട്ട് തന്നെ കാര്യം എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞു. വാട്ട് വി ഡു ഈസ് ദാറ്റ് ഇൻട്രൊഡക്ഷൻ്റെ ഫസ്റ്റ് പാരഗ്രാഫ്, അടുത്ത റിവ്യൂ ഓഫ് റിലേറ്റഡ് സ്ട്രക്ചറിൻ്റെ സെക്കൻഡ് പാരഗ്രാഫ്, മെത്തഡോളജിയുടെ തേർഡ് പാരഗ്രാഫ്, ഇങ്ങനെ എഴുതി നമ്മളൊരു 10-12 പേപ്പർ ഉണ്ടാക്കിയ what meaningful papers, it won't be meaningful papers. So what it can be called as salami slicing. But at the same time I should say that you can make different papers from your doctoral thesis. Yes, you can, because you have different hypotheses in your study, you have different tools in your study, you can make different papers from your study, but it should be meaningful ആയിട്ട് സ്ലൈസ് ചെയ്താൽ it won't become salami slicing. പക്ഷേ കണ്ണു അടച്ചുകൊണ്ട് മുറിച്ച് പല കഷണങ്ങളാക്കി നിങ്ങളുടെ പേപ്പർ പലയിടത്ത് പബ്ലിഷ് ചെയ്യരുത്. ദാറ്റ് ഈസ് കോൾഡ് salami slicing. Okay. And last one is self-citation. Self-citation, നമുക്കറിയാം എന്താണ് citation. We all know that now we are looking at the Google Scholar Index, അല്ലേ? അവിടെ H index, I index ഒക്കെ കൂട്ടുക എന്നുള്ളതാണ് നമ്മുടെ ഏറ്റവും വലിയ ആഗ്രഹം. എത്ര അങ്ങോട്ട് പബ്ലിഷ് ചെയ്തിട്ടും അതങ്ങോട്ട് കൂടുന്നില്ല, ബിക്കോസ് വ്യൂവേഴ്സ് ഉണ്ടെങ്കിലേ അത് കൂടും. അപ്പോൾ എന്ത് ചെയ്യും? വാട്ട് വി ഡു ഈസ് ദാറ്റ് നമ്മളെ പേര് തന്നെ നമ്മുടെ പേപ്പറിൽ അങ്ങ് കൊടുക്കും. ഫോർ എക്സാമ്പിൾ, ഐ ആം ഡൂയിങ് മെനി റിസർച്ചസ് ഇൻ ദ ഫീൽഡ് ഓഫ് എനർജി എഡ്യൂക്കേഷൻ. സോ ദാറ്റ് മൈ ഫസ്റ്റ് പേപ്പർ, സെക്കൻഡ് പേപ്പർ എഴുതുമ്പോൾ വാട്ട് ഐ ഡു ഈസ് ദാറ്റ് എൻ്റെ ഫസ്റ്റ് പേപ്പറിൻ്റെ അതിനകത്തുനിന്ന് എന്തെങ്കിലും ഒരു റിസൾട്ട് ഐ ക്യാൻ ഷോ ഇറ്റ് ഇൻ മൈ സെക്കൻഡ് പേപ്പർ. സോ ദാറ്റ് ഞാൻ അതിനകത്ത് സേനൻ 2014 എന്ന് എഴുതി വെക്കാം. സോ ദാറ്റ് ഞാൻ എൻ്റെ പേര് സൈറ്റേഷനിൽ കൊടുക്കും. സോ എൻ്റെ സൈറ്റേഷൻ ഇൻക്രീസ് ചെയ്യാം. ദിസ് ഈസ് കോൾഡ് സെൽഫ് സൈറ്റേഷൻ. പക്ഷേ എഗെയിൻ ഐ മസ്റ്റ് സേ യു ദാറ്റ് സെൽഫ് സൈറ്റേഷൻ നമുക്ക് ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റും. ഞാൻ നേരത്തെ പറഞ്ഞില്ലേ, ഇഫ് ഐ ആം ഡൂയിങ് എ research, for example, I am concentrating my researches either in the educational technology or energy education, ഞാൻ കണ്ടിന്യൂസ് ആയിട്ട് ചെയ്തു വരികയാണ്. അങ്ങനെ വരുമ്പം probably my first research will have an impact, അല്ലെങ്കിൽ അതിൻ്റെ റിസൾട്ട് will have an impact in my second research. So I must naturally എൻ്റെ സെക്കൻഡ് പേപ്പറിൽ I must have a citation from my first paper. പക്ഷേ ആദ്യത്തെ റിസർച്ച് മാങ്ങയെക്കുറിച്ചും രണ്ടാമത്തെ റിസർച്ച് തേങ്ങയെക്കുറിച്ചും ചെയ്തിട്ട് തേങ്ങയെക്കുറിച്ചുള്ള പേപ്പർ എഴുതുമ്പോൾ മാങ്ങയെക്കുറിച്ച് പേപ്പർ എഴുതിയതിനെ വെച്ചിട്ട് ഞാൻ ഇപ്പുറത്തോട്ട് എഴുതി കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ എന്താണ് അത് സെൽഫ് സൈറ്റേഷൻ ആണ്. ദാറ്റ് ഡസൻ മീനിങ് ആയിട്ട് അവിടെ ആവശ്യമില്ലാതെ ഇഫ് ദ പേപ്പർ ഈസ് നോട്ട് ഡിമാൻഡിങ് ദ സൈറ്റേഷൻ യുവർ സൈറ്റേഷൻ ഫ്രം യുവർ പ്രീവിയസ് പേപ്പർ, then it is a misconduct. But if your paper demands your citation from the previous paper, it is not considered as a misconduct. Okay, so self citation, that is at another. So but you must make sure that ഞാൻ ഒരു കാര്യം കൂടി പറയട്ടെ, നിങ്ങൾ റിസർച്ച് സ്കോളേഴ്സ് ഡു വൺ തിങ്, അതായത് ട്രൈ ടു ഫൈൻഡ് എ സ്പേസ്, അതായത് ഒരു ഏരിയയിൽ കോൺസെൻട്രേറ്റ് ചെയ്യാൻ ശ്രമിക്കുക, സോ ദാറ്റ് യുവർ സൈറ്റേഷൻ വിൽ ഇൻക്രീസ്. നമ്മൾ ഈ പല ഏരിയയിൽ പോയി പിടിക്കുന്നത് കൊണ്ടാണ് നമ്മുടെ സൈറ്റേഷൻ ഒരിക്കലും മുന്നോട്ട് പോകാത്തത്. ഓക്കെ, സോ അത് ഒരു കാര്യം മനസ്സിലാക്കാനുള്ളതാണ്. അനദർ തിങ് ഈസ് ദാറ്റ് ഇപ്പോൾ വെൻ യു ഗോ ടു ഗൂഗിൾ സ്കോളർ ഇൻഡെക്സ് ആൻഡ് ആൾ, ഐ കുഡ് സീ ദാറ്റ് ഗൂഗിൾ സ്കോളറിൽ നമ്മൾ പേര് രജിസ്റ്റർ ചെയ്യുമ്പോൾ തന്നെ അവർ ചോദിക്കുന്ന ഒരു കാര്യമുണ്ട്, ഏതൊക്കെ പേപ്പേഴ്സ് ആണ് നിങ്ങളുടെ പേരിലുള്ളതെന്ന്. ഇപ്പൊ എൻ്റെ പേര് ദിവ്യ എന്ന് പറയുന്ന പേര് ഒരുപാട് പേർക്ക് ഉണ്ടാവും, നമ്മൾ അത് ടിക്ക് ചെയ്ത് കൊടുക്കാൻ പാടില്ല. ഇപ്പൊ ഞാൻ പലരുടെയും നോക്കുമ്പോൾ ഉണ്ടല്ലോ, ചിലരുടെയൊക്കെ ഭയങ്കര സൈറ്റേഷനാണ്. And when you look at their papers, you could see that papers doesn't belong to them. അവരുടെ പേരല്ല, പേര് ചിലപ്പോൾ ഒരേപോലെ ആയിരിക്കാം, പക്ഷെ അവരുടെ പേപ്പർ അല്ല, വേറെ ആരുടെയോ പേപ്പറാണ് ഇവരുടെ സൈറ്റേഷനിൽ വന്ന് കിടക്കുന്നത്. സോ ദർ ആർ ലോട്ട് ഓഫ് നമ്പർ ഓഫ് ഇത്തരത്തിലുള്ള എന്താ പറയുക അൺഎത്തിക്കൽ ആയിട്ടുള്ള കാര്യങ്ങളാണ് ആൾക്കാർ ചെയ്യുന്നത്. എന്തിനു വേണ്ടിയിട്ട്? പബ്ലിസിറ്റി അല്ലെങ്കിൽ കൂടുതൽ അച്ചീവ്മെന്റ്സ് നേടാൻ വേണ്ടിയിട്ട്. ഐ ഡോണ്ട് നോ വെദർ ദിസ് ഈസ് എക്സാക്ട് അച്ചീവ്മെന്റ് ഓർ നോട്ട്. നമ്മുടെ എത്തിക്കലായിട്ട് പലപ്പോഴും നിൽക്കുക എന്നുള്ളതാണ് നമ്മൾ ചെയ്യേണ്ട ഏറ്റവും ഇമ്പോർട്ടൻ്റ് ആയിട്ടുള്ള കാര്യം. And last one is ethics with authorship. When you talk about authorship, there are 3 different types of authorship which are considered unacceptable. First one is the ghost author. Ghost author means who wrote, you all know that നമുക്കിപ്പം ചില കാര്യങ്ങൾ we may not be able to write. ചിലരിപ്പം മലയാളം students ആണെങ്കിൽ they will not be able to write their the papers in English and all, so they may seek the help of those who are good in English. അങ്ങനെ വരുമ്പോഴത്തേക്ക് അവരെ നമ്മൾ അവരുടെ കാര്യം ഉപയോഗിച്ചിട്ട് നമ്മൾ പേ ചെയ്തു. ബട്ട് സ്റ്റിൽ വാട്ട് ഹാപ്പൻസ് ഈസ് അവർ പറയും, എടേ ആ പേപ്പറിനകത്ത് എൻ്റെ പേരും കൂടെ ഒന്ന് ഇട്ടേക്കണേ എന്ന് ചോദിച്ചാൽ, നോ, യു ഷുഡ് നോട്ട് ഇൻക്ലൂഡ് സച്ച് ഓതേഴ്സ് ഇൻ ടു യുവർ പേപ്പർ ഹു ഹാസ് നോട്ട് കോൺട്രിബ്യൂട്ട് എനി കൺസ്ട്രക്റ്റീവ് കോൺട്രിബ്യൂഷൻ ടു യുവർ പേപ്പർ. വളരെ കോഗ്നിറ്റീവായിട്ട് അല്ലെങ്കിൽ കൺസ്ട്രക്റ്റീവായിട്ട് നമ്മൾ അതിനകത്ത് കോൺട്രിബ്യൂട്ട് ചെയ്യാത്ത ആരെയും നമ്മൾ പെയ്ഡ് ആയിട്ടുള്ള ആരെയും അതിനകത്ത് ഉൾപ്പെടുത്താൻ പാടില്ല. ഇഫ് യു ഇൻക്ലൂഡ് സച്ച് ടൈപ്പ് ഓഫ് ഓതേഴ്സ്, ഇറ്റ് ഈസ് കോൾഡ് ഗോസ്റ്റ് ഓതർ. വഴി കൂടെ പോകുമ്പോഴേ എൻ്റെ പേരൂടെ ഇട്ട് തരാം, ഞാൻ എൻ്റെ പേര് ഇപ്രാവശ്യം ഇട്ടാൽ ഞാൻ എൻ്റെ പേപ്പറിൽ നിന്റെ പേരിടാം എന്ന് പറയുന്നവരുണ്ട്. സോ പ്ലീസ് ഡോണ്ട് ഡു ദാറ്റ്, ദേ ആർ കോൾഡ് ഗോസ്റ്റ് ഓതേഴ്സ്. Next one is the guest author. Guest author means who make no discernible contribution but are listed to help increase the chances of publication. You know, before going abroad and all, I thought, എനിക്കൊരു prejudiced mind ആയിരുന്നു that only if സായിപ്പിന്റെ പേര് കണ്ടാൽ മാത്രമേ ഈ ഇത്തരത്തിലുള്ള സ്കോപ്പസ് ഇൻഡെക്സ് ജേർണൽസ് they will accept our papers. നമുക്ക് അങ്ങനെ ഒരു prejudice ഉണ്ട്. നമ്മളെ വിചാരം only if the prominent people the പേര് if it is attached along with us in our paper, then that paper will be accepted എന്നൊരു തോന്നൽ നമുക്കുണ്ട്. പ്ലീസ്, അങ്ങനെ ഒരു സംഭവവും ഇല്ല. ശരിക്കും പറഞ്ഞാൽ അങ്ങനെ വിചാരിച്ചുകൊണ്ട് നമ്മൾ എന്ത് ചെയ്യും, they have not made any contribution, still we put their name. വലിയ ആളല്ലേ, ഒരുപാട് പേപ്പറൊക്കെ ഉള്ള ആളല്ലേ, അപ്പൊ ആ ആളുടെ പേര് കൂടി നമുക്ക് ഇതിനകത്തോട്ട് ഇട്ട് കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ എൻ്റെ പേപ്പറൊന്നും വായിച്ചു നോക്കാതെ അവരെടുക്കും എന്നൊരു തോന്നലുണ്ടാവും. പ്ലീസ് ഡോണ്ട് ബിലീവ് ദാറ്റ്. Such authors are called guest authors. Please include only authors who make contributions to your paper. And the last one is gift authorship. പലപ്പോഴും നിങ്ങൾ വിചാരിക്കും, അയ്യോ ഞാൻ എൻ്റെ ഗൈഡിന്റെ പേര് പേപ്പറിൽ വിട്ടില്ലെങ്കിൽ ഗൈഡിന് എന്ത് തോന്നും, ഞാൻ ഇട്ടില്ലെങ്കിൽ ഗൈഡിന് വിഷമം വരത്തില്ലേ എന്ന് തോന്നും. പ്ലീസ് എന്താ പറയുക, നിങ്ങൾ ഒരു കാര്യം മനസ്സിലാക്കേണ്ടത്, പലപ്പോഴും റിസർച്ച് സ്കോളേഴ്സ് തുടങ്ങുന്ന സമയത്ത് ഇഫ് ദേ റൈറ്റ് പേപ്പേഴ്സ്, ഞാൻ അവരോട് പറയാറുണ്ട്, പ്ലീസ് എൻ്റെ പിള്ളേരോട് പറയാറുണ്ട്, ഇഫ് ഐ ഡോണ്ട് മേക്ക് എനി കോൺട്രിബ്യൂഷൻ ഇൻ ദാറ്റ് പേപ്പർ, പ്ലീസ് ഡോണ്ട് പുട്ട് മൈ നെയിം. ബിക്കോസ് എന്ത് ചെയ്യാന്ന്, അതൊരു ഗിഫ്റ്റ്. ഇപ്പൊ നിങ്ങൾ വിചാരിക്കും, അയ്യോ ഞാനത് ഇട്ടില്ലെങ്കിൽ ടീച്ചറിന് എന്ത് തോന്നും ടീച്ചറിന്. പക്ഷേ നിങ്ങൾ ടീച്ചറിനോട് ചെയ്യുന്ന ഗിഫ്റ്റ് അല്ല, നിങ്ങൾ ടീച്ചേഴ്സിനോട് ചെയ്യുന്ന ഒരു ചതിയായിരിക്കും അത്. ബിക്കോസ് നിങ്ങൾ ആദ്യമായിട്ട് ഇനിഷ്യലി യു ആർ റൈറ്റിംഗ് എ പേപ്പർ, ദർ മേ ബി സോ മെനി എറേഴ്സ് ആസ് വെൽ ആസ് മിസ്റ്റേക്ക്. ശരിക്കും എൻ്റെ ആദ്യത്തെ പേപ്പറുകളൊക്കെ എടുത്തു വെച്ച് വായിക്കുമ്പോൾ എനിക്ക് എന്നെ തന്നെ എടുത്ത് കണക്കിലിടാൻ തോന്നും. ഇപ്പോൾ നമ്മൾ എന്താ പറയുക, സുരാജ് വെഞ്ഞാറമൂട് പറയുന്ന കണക്ക് എന്നെ എടുത്ത് കണക്കിലിടാൻ തോന്നും. ബിക്കോസ് ആ പേപ്പർ ഇപ്പം എടുത്ത് കാണുമ്പോൾ എനിക്ക് ചിരി വന്നിട്ട് വയ്യ. അങ്ങനെയാണ് നമ്മൾ പഠിച്ച് വരത്തേ ഉള്ളൂ പേപ്പർ. വെൻ വി റൈറ്റ് പേപ്പേഴ്സ് ഓൺലി പതുക്കെ വരുള്ളൂ. അപ്പോൾ വെൻ യു റൈറ്റ് പേപ്പേഴ്സ് ദർ വിൽ ബി ലോട്ട് ഓഫ് എറേഴ്സ്. സോ അറ്റ് ദാറ്റ് ടൈം ഇഫ് യു പുട്ട് യുവർ if you put your name, in that paper, your guide's name in that paper, somebody who is analyzing the paper, oh, you പറയും ദൈവമേ ജോജു സാറിന്റെ സ്റ്റുഡന്റ് ആണോ ഇങ്ങനെ എഴുതി വെച്ചിരിക്കുന്നത്, അല്ലെങ്കിൽ മായ ടീച്ചറിന്റെ സ്റ്റുഡന്റ് ആണോ ഇങ്ങനെ എഴുതി വെച്ചിരിക്കുന്നത്? ബിക്കോസ് നിങ്ങളെ അവർക്കറിയില്ല, പക്ഷെ ജോജു സാറിനെയോ മായ ടീച്ചറിനെയോ അവർക്കറിയാം. അങ്ങനെ വരുമ്പോൾ എന്ത് ചെയ്യുന്നു, നിങ്ങൾ ചെയ്യുന്ന വലിയൊരു ചതിയാണ് നിങ്ങളുടെ ടീച്ചേഴ്സിനോട്. സോ പ്ലീസ് ഡോണ്ട് പുട്ട് ദെയർ നെയിംസ് ഇഫ് ദേ ഡോണ്ട് ഹാവ് എനി കോൺട്രിബ്യൂഷൻ ഇൻ ദാറ്റ്. അതേസമയം നിങ്ങളുടെ പേപ്പർ നിങ്ങളുടെ ടീച്ചറിനെ കാണിച്ചു, ദേ ഹാവ് വെരിഫൈഡ് ദ പേപ്പർ, ദേ ഹാവ് ആഡഡ്, അതിനകത്ത് അവരെല്ലാം റെഡിയാക്കി തന്ന, യെസ് exactly you have to put the name of your guide into the paper. So these are the different types of authorship: ghost author, guest author and gift authorship. ഇനി ലാസ്റ്റ് സ്ലൈഡ് ആണ്, തീർന്നു. ഐ എം സോ സോറി, ഒരുപാട് സമയം എടുത്തു ഞാൻ. കോൺസിക്വൻസസ് എന്തൊക്കെയാണെന്ന് ചോദിച്ചാൽ, ദ എഡിറ്റോറിയൽ ബോർഡ്, കോപ്പ്, ഞാൻ നേരത്തെ പറഞ്ഞു, ഗോ ടു ദ സൈറ്റ് ഓഫ് കോപ്പ്, ദേ ഹാവ് ഗിവൻ യു ക്ലിയർ ഗൈഡ് ലൈൻസ് എന്തൊക്കെയാണ് ചെയ്യേണ്ടതെന്നുള്ളത്. ഇഫ് ദ ഓതർ അക്സെപ്റ്റ് ദ ഫോൾട്ട്, ദ പേപ്പർ വിൽ ബി റിജക്റ്റഡ്. നോക്കൂ, if the നമ്മൾ ഓതർ പറയാണ് യു ഹാവ് ഡൺ എ ഫോൾസിഫിക്കേഷൻ ഇൻ യുവർ പേപ്പർ ആൻഡ് വി ഹാവ് കോട്ട് ദാറ്റ് എന്ന് പറയുകയാണെങ്കിൽ എന്ത് ചെയ്യാം, ദ പേപ്പർ വിൽ ബി റിജക്റ്റഡ് ആൻഡ് ദ ഹയർ അതോറിറ്റീസ് ഓഫ് ദ അഫിലിയേഷൻ ഇൻസ്റ്റിറ്റ്യൂഷൻ വിൽ ബി ഇൻഫോംഡ്. എന്നിട്ട് പിന്നെ ഇൻഫോം ചെയ്യും, ഇങ്ങനെയുള്ള ഒരു കുട്ടി ഒരു ഫോൾസിഫൈഡ് ആയിട്ടുള്ള ഡേറ്റ അയച്ചിരുന്നു, നോ മോർ ഹി വിൽ ബി അലൗഡ് ടു പബ്ലിഷ് ഇൻ അവർ ജേർണൽ, ദേ വിൽ ഇൻഫോം യു ടു ദ അഫിലിയേറ്റഡ് ഇൻസ്റ്റിറ്റ്യൂഷൻ. ഇനി സംടൈംസ് എഡിറ്ററുടെയോ റിവ്യൂവറോ അറിയാതെ എന്ത് ചെയ്യും, ഈ തെറ്റ് ചിലപ്പോൾ അറിയത്തില്ല, അതറിയാതെ അത് പബ്ലിഷ് ആയി പോകും. ആൻഡ് യു നോ നൗ ദർ ആർ സോ മെനി സോഷ്യൽ നെറ്റ്വർക്കിംഗ് സൈറ്റ്സ് who എന്താണ് deliberately do this type of work. അതായത് അവർ തന്നെ റിവ്യൂ ചെയ്യുന്നുണ്ട്. പബ്മെഡ് ഒക്കെ നിങ്ങൾക്ക് അറിയായിരിക്കും, പബ്മെഡിനെ കുറിച്ചൊക്കെ. പബ്മെഡ് ഇറ്റ് ഈസ് ഇറ്റ് ഈസ് എ ഗ്രൂപ്പ് ഓഫ് റിസർച്ച് സ്കോളേഴ്സ് തുടങ്ങിയ ഒരു ഇനിഷ്യേറ്റീവ് ആണ്. ദേ ടേക്ക് ദ പേപ്പേഴ്സ് ആൻഡ് ദേ അനലൈസ് ദ പേപ്പേഴ്സ് ആൻഡ് ദേ ട്രൈ ടു ഫൈൻഡ് ഔട്ട് ഇഫ് എറേഴ്സ് ബീയിങ് ഉണ്ടോ എന്ന് നോക്കും. അതായത് ഒരു എഡിറ്റർ നോക്കി, അത് കഴിഞ്ഞ് 2 റിവ്യൂവർ നോക്കി, പുറത്ത് പബ്ലിഷ് ആയ ജേർണലിനെ വീണ്ടും എടുത്ത് ദേ ഡു ദ അനാലിസിസ്. എന്നിട്ട് അതിനകത്ത് തെറ്റുണ്ടെങ്കിൽ അവരെ സോഷ്യൽ നെറ്റ്വർക്കിംഗ് സൈറ്റിൽ കൂടി പറയും. അങ്ങനെ പറയുകയാണെങ്കിൽ എന്ത് ചെയ്യാം എന്നുള്ളതാണ്. ദ ഓതേഴ്സ് ആർ പ്രൊവൈഡഡ് വിത്ത് എൻ ഓപ്പർച്യൂണിറ്റി ഓഫ് സെൽഫ് കൺഫെഷൻ ഇൻ ദ ഫോം ഓഫ് എൻ ഇറാറ്റം. നിങ്ങൾ ജേർണൽ എടുത്ത് നോക്കിയാൽ കാണാം, ചില ജേർണൽസിലൊക്കെ പേപ്പറിന്റെ അവസാനം പിറ്റേ അടുത്ത പതിപ്പിൽ അവരിടും, ദിസ് ഇസ് എൻ ഇറാറ്റം വിച്ച് ഷോ ദാറ്റ് അവർ ദ ഡേറ്റ which was written in the previous article, it was wrong and it should be read as follows എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞ് അവരിടും. This is a form of errata. അപ്പോൾ there is another chance, ഇങ്ങനൊരു ചാൻസ് ഉണ്ട്. And if the misconduct is major, editor can revoke the paper, the author can be blacklisted and shared information shared with the cop. കോപ്പിനെ നിങ്ങൾ അറിയിച്ചു. ഫോർ എക്സാമ്പിൾ, ഞാൻ ഒരു മിസ്കോണ്ടക്ട് നടത്തി, അത് അവർ അറിയിച്ചു കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ, you all know that all the Scopus indexed journals are included in the COP. അപ്പോൾ കോപ്പിൽ ഇത് അറിഞ്ഞു കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ പിന്നെ no more Scopus index journals in any other Scopus index journals, I will not be able to publish my further papers. സോ ദാറ്റ് ഈസ് ദ. പിന്നെ ഞാനൊന്ന് ചോദിക്കട്ടെ, നമ്മൾ റിസർച്ച് ചെയ്യുന്നത് എന്തിനാണ്? നമ്മുടെ പേപ്പേഴ്സ് അല്ലെങ്കിൽ നമ്മൾ വൈ വി ഡു റിസർച്ച് ഈസ് വി നീഡ് ടു ഗെറ്റ് ഇറ്റ് പബ്ലിസൈസ്ഡ്. ഞാൻ പോസ്റ്റ് ഡോക്കിന് പോയപ്പോൾ അതിവിടെ പറഞ്ഞു നിർത്താം. വെൻ ഐ വെന്റ് ദെയർ, ആഫ്റ്റർ കംപ്ലീറ്റിംഗ് മൈ റിസർച്ച് ഫോർ ദ ഫസ്റ്റ് ടൈം, 4 മാസം കഴിഞ്ഞപ്പോൾ നിങ്ങളൊക്കെ ചെയ്യുന്ന പോലെ ഞാനും ഒന്ന് ബൈൻഡ് ഒക്കെ ചെയ്ത്, എൻ്റെ ഐ ഡിഡ് ഓൾ മൈ വർക്ക്സ് എല്ലാം ബൈൻഡ് ചെയ്ത് റെഡി ആക്കിയിട്ട് ഐ വെന്റ് ടു മൈ പ്രൊഫസർ ആൻഡ് ടോൾഡ് ഹിം, സർ വെൻ ഷുഡ് ഐ സബ്മിറ്റ് മൈ റിപ്പോർട്ട്? അപ്പോൾ സർ ഹി വാസ് എന്താ സ്റ്റെയറിങ് അറ്റ് മീ. അങ്ങനെ ശരിക്കും പറഞ്ഞു കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ ഹി വാസ് സ്റ്റെയറിങ് അറ്റ് മീ. എന്നിട്ട് ചോദിച്ചു, വൈ ഷുഡ് യു സബ്മിറ്റ് ടു മീ? ഐ ടോൾഡ്, സർ ഐ ഹാവ് ടു സബ്മിറ്റ് മൈ റിപ്പോർട്ട്. അപ്പോൾ ഐ ടോൾഡ്, ഹി വാസ് ടെലിങ് ലൈക്ക്, യു ഡോണ്ട് വാണ്ട് ടു സബ്മിറ്റ് ടു മീ, യു വാണ്ട് ടു ഗെറ്റ് ഇറ്റ് പബ്ലിഷ്ഡ്. വാട്ട് ഓർ റിസർച്ചസ് യു ആർ ഡൂയിങ്, യു ഗെറ്റ് ഇറ്റ് പബ്ലിഷ്ഡ്. ഏറ്റവും നല്ല ജേർണലിൽ പബ്ലിഷ് ചെയ്ത് ഏറ്റവും കൂടുതൽ ആൾക്കാർ, അക്കാഡമീഷ്യൻസ് കാണുക എന്നുള്ളതാണ് ഓരോ റിസർച്ചിന്റെയും ഉദ്ദേശം. നോട്ട് ബൈൻഡിങ് ഇറ്റ് ആൻഡ് കീപ്പിംഗ് ഇറ്റ് സംവെയർ ആൻഡ് ആഡിങ് ഇറ്റ് ഇൻ യുവർ സിവിയിൽ ചുമ്മാ ആഡ് ചെയ്യുകയല്ല, ബട്ട് ടു ഗെറ്റ് ഇറ്റ് പബ്ലിഷ്ഡ്, ടു ഗെറ്റ് ദ മാക്സിമം വ്യൂവേഴ്സ്. സോ please try to get your papers published in എന്താ പറയുക, നല്ല സ്കോപ്പസ് ഇൻഡെക്സ്ഡ് ജേർണൽസ് പബ്ലിഷ് ചെയ്യണം. ആൻഡ് നൗ യു കുഡ് അണ്ടർസ്റ്റുഡ് ദാറ്റ് നല്ലത് പബ്ലിഷ് ചെയ്യണമെങ്കിൽ യു ഷുഡ് ഹാവ് ഡൺ ഇൻ ദ എത്തിക്കൽ മാനർ. ദാറ്റ് മീൻസ് വെൽ ഇൻ അഡ്വാൻസ്, while before doing research you should know all the principles of ethical research. Then only you could do ethical research and then only you will be able to get it published in the very good Scopus indexed journal. Okay. So I am very sorry that I have taken a lot of time. I couldn't finish it within 1 hour. I usually take around 2.5-3 hours for this particular paper. because I usually give more and more examples and all. I'm very sorry to make you sit for quite a long time. Anyway, extending my gratitude to one and all for keenly listening to me. I believe that you were listening to my talk. And I wish you all success and wish you all the research scholars and as well as the aspiring scholars to come up with ethical research and very good scopus indexed journals should come from our universities. And I believe that we should have more laurels from our university. And we are expecting our future research scholars to bring more and more laurels to our university. Okay, thank you. Thank you so much.
Teacher, that was an exceptional talk. One of the best in the Insight in Depth series. We loved it. We learned a lot. It was really exceptional. We are really indebted to you. Plenty of take home and learned many new points, ma'am, today. Really thankful to you, ma'am.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you so
Yes,
much.
Dr. Divya, it was really an informative talk. And you have explained all the concepts like conflict of interest, IRB, human and animal rights, plagiarism, then what informed consents, then simultaneous submission, duplicate publication, etc. Thank you
Thank you.
so
Thank
much.
you.
Really very, very useful for all our scholars as well as those who are in the field of research. Thank you so much.
Thank you, teacher. Thank you for your nice words, both of you, Teoju sir also.
Thank you, ma'am. That is, we know that experience without theory is blind, but theory without experience is mere intellectual play. So, coming to the words of our eminent guest, Dr. Divya Senan, experiences talks more than theories. Thank you so much, ma'am, for an extremely informative, enjoyable, and above all, valuable session about the research and publication ethics. It became meaningful because of your extensive experiences. So now we are moving to the deliberation segment. All of the participants can clarify their queries now. Open to you. If there is no queries, then we can move into
First of all,
yes.
Excuse me,
excuse me, please. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you very much.
It's such a brilliant explanation of everything that we had doubts about. I have wanted to ask you many questions, but you have cleared almost all my doubts. We hope that we'll be able to interact more again with you. Thank you very much, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Divya, congratulations. Alisher from
Sir.
Pakistan. Alisher from Pakistan, PhD scholar. Thank you very much, ma'am. You are
Sorry.
a career married out.
Ali, Ali, I need to ask you sorry because in between I was talking with local language also. I didn't know that there were participants from abroad. Sorry for that.
Okay, thank you.
Congratulations,
Thank you so
Divya.
much. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
I like that. I joined only the later part of the presentation, but I like that terminology salami slicing very much. Is there any opposite word used for proper meaningful slicing?
No, sir. Actually, this salami slicing is a word used in COP only, sir. It's in the Committee on Publication Ethics. Actually, they have used this particular word. Yes.
No, is there any other kind opposite meaning word is there?
Check.
Otherwise,
I
we
think I
have
have
to
to check.
construct a word.
Yeah, yes, sir. Yes.
So thank you so much.
Okay.
So feeling
If
gratitude and
anybody,
not
Shafi,
expressing.
if anybody have any queries or something, please ask them to feel free to write to me or text to me either through mail
Sure.
or through my WhatsApp number. Okay. You can give my
Sure, ma'am.
WhatsApp
Sure.
number as well as mail to them. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you so much, ma'am. So feeling gratitude and not expressing, it is like wrapping a present and not giving it. So I invite our passionate, empathetic teacher educator and our research coordinator, Professor Dr. Maya ma'am, to honor our guest and the informative session.
Good evening, everyone. Yeah, we have completed 88th Insight in Depth, the talk series organizing by Research Wing of Martiphilis Training College. Actually, it began as a weekly program, and now we have changed it to a monthly program by giving more significance to research-related topics as per the need analysis given by our research scholars, and with the consent of our dear Principal Professor, Dr. Joju John. We are honored and very happy to get Dr. Divya Senan as the resource person of today. Would like to, I mean, uh, I'm sure that all delegates here are happy because everyone is curious about the topic, and we know the person who handles it also. Overall, research ethics is essential for ensuring that research is conducted in a way that is both ethical and scientifically sound. And research scholars have to learn more about this topic to practice in their research procedure. And Dr. Divya, it was very, very informative talk, very useful. And Dr. Divya is a friend of MTTC, and I have been associating with her since 2012 when she was working in Sri Narayana Training College, Varkala. She had organized many seminars over there, and I could join there as a resource person in few of them. I'm sure all the participants get benefited out of a scholarly talk and clear and very brilliant presentation. Thank you, Dr. Divya.
Thank you, teacher. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Maya ma'am. Now we are moving to the last segment of the Insight in Depth to express the sincere gratitude to our eminent guest and each one present here and made the session fruitful. I invite Miss Vincy for vote of thanks.
Thank you, Shafi sir. Am I audible?
Yes, audible.
Thank you, sir. On behalf of Martiphilis Training College, it's my tremendous pleasure to propose my sincere vote of thanks to acknowledge the contribution of each one who made this meeting successful. On the outset, I would like to express my sincere vote of thanks to our resource person for today's invited talk series, Dr. Divya C. Senan ma'am, for adorning this session. It was really a wonderful, informative, insightful session, ma'am. Thank you for guiding us about the research ethics and eradicating all the fallacies related to the plagiarism and research conduct. Thank you, ma'am, for sharing your experience with us to understand the concept with more clarity. It has helped all of us, especially the research scholars present here. Once again, thank you, Divya ma'am, for selecting the pertinent topic and for the dedicated presentation. Now, I extend a hearty vote of thanks to our principal, Dr. Jojo Johnson, for sparing time with us. We are thankful to work under your guidance. Once again, thank you, sir, for the whole heart support and leading the institution with a great vision. Let me extend a hearty vote of thanks to our newly appointed research coordinator, Dr. Maya S. Ma'am, for leading and inspiring us. Thank you, ma'am, for providing all the assistance for the systematic conduct and execution of the Insight in-Depth talk series. Now, it's my privilege to propose a vote of thanks to all the esteemed guests for accepting our invitation and being part of this program. Thank you all for gracing the occasion and sharing your valuable thoughts. I would like to express my generous thanks to all the research supervisors, research scholars, and students of Martiphilis Training College for their kind cooperation and involvement. And a special thanks to our student secretary, Mr. Sapna, for making this event a successful one. Thank you.
Thank you, Vincy. Dear participants, the feedback form is already shared in the chat box. Please fill it and revert to us. So now I invite Deepa for playing National Anthem.
पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उज्जल जलधि तरंगा शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष